Yeah, what's up?
Hello.
Yeah, so do you believe in God?
Of course.
Why so?
Because he healed my depression. Jesus. So that's why.
And how do you know that it was Jesus?
Because it's like it's hard to explain, right? Because it's basically when I reached out to Jesus, and it was a time where, I was really frustrated with myself. After that, well, a few minutes after, reaching out to Jesus, I felt hope. So I keep doing the same thing every single night, and ever since then, my life just got better. So, and now I'm just
I feel
a
like you're trolling
full-blown
me.
Christian.
I feel like you're trolling
No,
me.
no,
You
hands on
come on
heart.
my
No,
live and you
hands
trolled
on
me
heart.
before. I can tell by your voice.
No,
I can definitely
no,
tell by the
no.
voice. He
No.
disconnected it. Busted, bro. Busted. We're gonna go on to the next person. Bro got busted. He has trolled you? Yeah, I know. I was like, the voice sounds way too familiar. You know what I mean? Send a guest request if you disagree, everyone. We're just looking for some debates, y'all. You already know the deal. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I'm 39.
For sure. Do you believe in God?
Yes, I do.
Why so? Let's go for great debates. Great debates. Tap that screen, everyone. Share the live. I hope get it out to more people. This is going great so far. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hi, I'm 34.
For sure. Do you believe in God?
I do, yes.
Why so?
For me, I think proof is, we have historical record of Jesus Christ. We know Jesus Christ existed, which sure it's not complete proof that he was the Son of God, but it still does lend more credit to religious claims. I think that near-death experiences could be considered proof. There's a lot of similarities in a lot of near-death experiences, which I think is really a fascinating topic all on its own, and I know there's debate to that as well. But, I think there's proof in testimony even because of that. There's a similarity in testimony. Again, I know that's not surefire proof that is going to convince everyone. I know that's not enough proof for many people. But for me, those are just a few things that I find proof enough in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. So I believe Jesus existed. I believe Jesus was crucified on the cross. I don't believe Jesus was resurrected. So I do believe in the evidence of Jesus' existence. In terms of the similarity amongst testimony, we would expect there to be some types of similarities, right? Yet we see there are lots of contradictions when it relates to these different types of conclusions that are formed from these spiritual experiences. So if there are contradictions, right, we would have to have some way to determine which is the accurate information and which is the inaccurate information. And I've never heard a reason as to why, or a reason as to how we could do so, given we're looking at like supernatural experiences like this.
Right.
Apparently.
And I also understand that just the nature of personal accounts, can't really be super accurate, as at least it would be hard to establish a standard, for which we could base that on. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to add. So I really didn't want to argue or anything.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, we'll go on to the next person. Again, only send a guest request if you disagree. We're just looking for some debates, everyone. Just looking for some debates. Is QB sending a guest request to debate? QB, are you sending a request to debate, bro? You're my only guest request, man. Again, only send a guest request if you disagree. All we're just looking for some debates. Tap that screen. Let's try to get to 50,000 likes. No, I just saw you no request. I just want to make sure that I get debates up here real quick. I don't want to debate you if you don't want to debate. It's fine. Don't worry, bro. You're good. Parker, you should have worn your atheist shirt today. This is an atheist shirt. It's one of the atheist shirts. Technically, the atheist shirts, technically, that video was not mine. Apparently, that's what TikTok thinks. TikTok thinks that I stole that video, even though I'm literally in the video. Right? It's actually wild. I don't know what to tell TikTok at this point. It's actually unfortunate. If you have any questions, put in the comment section right now. We'll just be responding to people until we get debates in here real quick, everyone. Again, only send a guest request if you disagree. We're just looking for some debates. Y'all tap that screen. Share the live, everyone, to help get it out to more people. Hopefully we can get some people up here. If not, we might try to try a different one later on and whatnot. Banned? Yeah, I'm bananaed on my main account for a week until the 22nd, and they haven't responded to my appeal, so that's truly unfortunate. Is this your second account? Yes, it is. No progress on the appeal. I will show y'all. Let me go to live. On live, it just says this. Live access suspended. And then I click on it. And here, I want to make sure there's nothing on it that's bad. Like this. It's just appeal submitted. So there's nothing I can do. Make your topic God is evil. Yeah, maybe I could, honestly, at this point. But I mean, yeah. Talk to Tommy, said he could help. With me, I mean, he came to me for help, and I gave him like the feedback link and what I have. If he has extra stuff, I would definitely want to go to him. But would it help if we all appealed? I don't know if you all can appeal. I don't think that's possible. Give it a second, everyone. Tap the screen. Darth Maul, are you in the join the guest request, man? Parker needs a prep time before debating me. Darth Maul, you still haven't hit 1,000 followers to be able to join the live. Are you funded by the DNC? No. Thank you for the hand tower. I appreciate it, Sarisa. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, give it a second, everyone. We're gonna wait for some debates, y'all. Only send a guest request if you want to debate, y'all. Parker needs prep time before debating me. So real, Vanessa. So real. I do need prep time, honestly. My main got removed. That's tough, Darth Maul. Maybe you shouldn't have done that. How are you, Parker? I'm doing good. Key, how about you? His shirt is Soundwave. Someone said it's a watermelon shirt, and I kind of agree. It is the watermelon shirt, but it's like silky. It's like so nice. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I have no guest requests. Everyone, just give it a second. We're gonna get some guest requests. I'm gonna go live on the second or third and send some people over. Oh my God, Dean, you're good, bro. It's fine. You're chilling, bro. You're chilling, man. You meant like after you're done going live? I thought you were just saying you were like going live just to send people over. I was like, what? Nah, don't worry. We'll get out to people once we get debates in here. It'll start picking up. We're chilling. I'm not worried at all. I'm not worried. And we're also, I mean, we're on the second account. This is what I kind of expected, to not get people into debate. But yeah, tap that screen, everyone. Let's try to get to 100,000 likes. If you have any questions, you can put it in the comment section right now. Send a guest request if you do disagree, if you believe in God. Again, you already know we're looking for some debates. You already know. Is my controller not working? Oh, I literally didn't even plug it in. It's crazy that 600 of us agree with Parker. Yeah, no, actually, literally every single person almost. I can't subscribe to both accounts. Don't subscribe to this account. I'm actually thinking about turning my subs off on this account because I feel really bad. Like you don't get anything out of subbing on this account. I don't agree with Parker on anything. So real, Vanessa. So real. Hopefully we can get this person. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey, can you hear me?
Are you driving?
Yeah, I'm literally pulling over right now. Sorry.
Okay, send a guest request when you're done driving, everyone. Send a guest request when you're done driving. Yeah, everyone. How do I turn off subs? Manage. I can turn off the goal, I guess. I could turn off the goal. That's about much. I was thinking of sub here too. We'll see. We'll give it a second. We're going to try the next person in the meantime while we wait for that one person. If you disagree, send a guest request right now. Share the live, everyone, if you want help get it out to people. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey, Parker. I'm 21 plus.
For sure. Do you believe in God?
Well, Parker, I have an offer for you. We're forming a new religion. It's called Freshianity. It's an improved version of Christianity. So we'll have the concept of Trinity, Basically, you will have a God we'll call Bu, and then we'll have the spirit we'll call Il, and then we'll have the prophet called Lashiat. So together it'll be Bu El Lashiat. And we want to see if you will take the offer.
I can't do it, bro. Freshianity, so real. Bool la shit. Yeah, so real, so real. So real. What did I miss? You missed a lot. You missed a lot. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hey, Parker, I'm 53.
For sure. Do you believe in God?
Yes.
Why so?
Hey, I just want to say saw a couple of your lives. I think you're pretty decent, though I do disagree with your points.
For
Okay.
sure.
So I just want to say that I've noticed you call like personal experience like the anecdotal evidence, but I think that's like a cop out, because personal experience is the highest form of reality. When you're collecting data as you say you do, this is like he said, she said, second, third person. And personal experience, Parker, is first person. So my evidence is thousands and hundreds of thousands of personal experiences that they've experienced God.
Okay, well, if I say that I have a personal experience with something that contradicts your personal experience, how do you differentiate between these claims? Maybe
So
like
like
Betty.
you can have a personal experience that's real to you. I would say that's if you really do have that experience, you're not playing around like SpongeBob. Like I heard you use that one. I think that's just not being serious. If
No,
you
I'm
do have a
being
personal
completely
experience, I
serious.
say it's legit, and you don't have to. Okay, so in the spiritual path, you don't have to agree with other person. That's for you to determine, right? Because it's a spiritual experience, not like a physical proof. So you don't. It doesn't need to agree with somebody else's experience if it's a personal experience or a spiritual experience, because of
Yeah,
how you
so
interpret it.
no. So yeah, the point is that why do I take the interpretation of one spiritual experience to be true, but not the other? It doesn't seem like we
It's
have
not
a
so.
reasoning to differentiate between which ones are acceptable and which ones are not. It seems like they're on the same playing field. It's just an aesthetic difference.
Right, you have a point, but you're making another mistake, I believe. You're trying to take somebody's personal experience or spiritual experience and quantify that or measure it or rectify it, because it's not a fact. It's not a material thing. If it was a fact or material thing, let's say like math or like science, then you can rectify it. You can confirm it. You can say there is a contradiction, it's not a contradiction. But it's when it's a personal, spiritual experience, which we are real and we are human and we have these experiences, that you can't necessarily quantify. So you can't assume that that's going to be true or not for you. But you do want to let that person have that experience and let it be real for that person. And if you have it, then it's real for you.
Yeah, so I mean, what do we mean we let it be real, right? Because like if someone had an experience, say they had we talk about the Prophet Muhammad's like experience. Thank you for the love, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Prophet Muhammad's experience. Well, he had an experience with Angel Gabriel and dictated the Quran, right, to people around him, and they wrote down the Quran. Do you accept the conclusions formed from that spiritual experience?
For that person, it's fine. And if you're in that culture, so I want to agree with you for a little bit. That culture is going to have that experience, like Islam, but a Christian culture
Why
is
is
going
it
to have.
specific to a culture?
I think it has to do with the person. Like if you were born in Islam or in Iran, you're going to have that religion as your background. If you're not going to be Jewish,
That's just you're just saying like what people are like grown up into and
it's
socialized
going
with
to
in
apply to
particular
their traditions.
religions.
Yeah, yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
and
It's going to
and
apply to
so that
them.
doesn't justify that it's correct, right? That didn't give us any type of process to
It's
differentiate between
correct for
these.
that person. It's correct for that culture.
Well, yeah, they think that, right? But how do we know
They
that it's
think
truly correct?
it's like you said. You can't confirm it like a fact. You're making the
So it's
mistake
it's
of
it's an
saying
unfalsifiable or un You can't determine the truth of this
It's a,
claim
it,
either.
when you say unfalsifiable, that's a science thing or a material thing. Yes,
Yeah,
a
it's
spiritual
empirically
experience, a
unfalsifiable.
personal experience is not falsifiable.
Um,
Did you like The Matrix, the movie?
I didn't watch it.
It's an important movie because it explains that what you feel, touch, smell, taste is just things from your mind. It may not really be true, right?
Yeah,
So
there's like logical possibilities, but it's likely to be the case, right? Given, right, what we know, what our experiences are, rational proofs, things like that.
yeah, well, my point, just you want to allow for these spiritual experiences to happen. You want to let people have their experiences without without
Leave the guidance.
judging
I
them,
appreciate it. Thank you so much. I
because
appreciate
it
it.
is just that. It's a personal spiritual experience. It's not going to be quantifiable or provable or even falsifiable by science.
Yeah, so then why do we believe something that we don't have the ability to justify?
That's the thing. And there's you cast like doubt or negativity on the word believe, right? I don't have a problem with believing.
I didn't put any type of negativity on the word believe. All right, what
You're
I'm
saying it's
saying is
bad
that
to believe.
unjustified beliefs, right? I
You're
would say
saying it's
there's a
bad to
negative
believe. Are
connotation
you
with.
not saying that?
What's up?
Is it okay to believe, Parker?
Yeah, it's okay to believe things, right? But as long as your beliefs are justified.
Right. So you're going to justify something in your own life. You don't have to read data or second, third hand person or study results. It's going to end up being your own personal life, which applies to you, not from a book, not from a liberal data.
Liberal data? No, so like when it relates to this, then I can just make any claim about what I feel like, right? And then again, the only difference between any of the claims that are made are just aesthetic differences, right? And I reject that notion, right? Because I don't think that the difference between there being a spherical earth and there being a flat earth is just an aesthetic difference. I think there's real evidence that indicates that the earth is spherical, right? And there's not good evidence to indicate that the earth is flat, right? Actually, there's counter evidence towards that notion.
Right. So let's not mix up physical things with personal or spiritual experiences. And that's all I wanted to
Wait,
say,
no, a
Parker. Come
personal
on here. I don't
when
want to
I'm just
say
saying a
that.
personal experience that people have. People have personal experiences with the earth being flat because all they see is the earth is flat. Okay? And then they run
But
with
see,
that.
but
So in
you're
the
still
same way
doing it.
that you're
You're
saying that you
but
justify a personal experience, well then it seems like this personal experience is also justified.
but you're still doing it. You're saying Earth. You're saying flat round, right? But that's a physical thing, is it not? I'm coming on here, Parker. I just want you to know that I, as a person, maybe have a little more perspective than you as far as experience, as far as age, and you want to let people have their personal experiences. You don't want to just dismiss personal experiences that you call, I've heard you call anecdotal evidence, saying that it's not
Didn't
legit.
you just dismiss my personal experience by saying that you have like more years or more understanding?
I'm saying I may have more perspective than you, and to consider
Yeah,
that
so
you
you
don't
just
want to
dismissed my
dismiss
personal
personal
experience, right?
experiences.
But you
I
just
don't,
dismissed my personal experience by using a method to be able to differentiate between the two claims.
but I don't
That's
think you're
exactly what I'm
having
asking.
personal
Hold on,
experiences.
hold on. That's exactly what I'm
I
asking you
think you're
for
reading
here.
data though. I think you're not. I think you're dismissing these personal experiences,
You just
and you're
dismissed
looking for
mine.
proof of everything.
Godric, you literally just dismissed mine.
I think you want proof when there's no proof, Parker, and you
What?
dismiss something if there's
Okay,
no
if there's
proof.
no proof, then why do we believe?
Because your personal experiences are going to happen in your own life, and that's natural, normal, and that's not a bad thing.
I never
And we
said
are we
personal
are all
experience is a
human.
bad thing. What I said is that how do we make a differentiation between the different types of claims that I said?
If you say personal experience is anecdotal evidence, you are indicating that it's a bad thing. I'm saying
No,
it's
it's
not
not.
that.
But it's literally by definition what it is. Thank you, Henry. I appreciate.
But
Thank you, Henry. I
you're
appreciate what you said.
dismissing
No, personal experience
people's
literally is
anecdotal
anecdotal
evidence.
evidence. So they're the same thing. They're interchangeable.
You're dismissing that as a bad thing. I'm saying it's not a bad thing. I'm saying that's
Yeah, I'm saying
real.
it's not as effective at determining what's accurate with reality as other types of methods because it
Okay,
has
so
limitations, and I
I'll
brought up
meet you
those
halfway, but it
limitations.
depends how you look at it. Because look, let's say someone wants to know about sex, right? So what you're doing, I'm gonna give an example. Okay, you're getting two dudes in a lab coat, studying two people having sex in a bed, writing down notes and looking at them, making noises. But guess what? The data they collect is not going to tell them about an orgasm, about having sex. You can ask the person having the sex. That's what I'm saying go with somebody's personal experience that's they're having it, not data, which
Appreciate the
You don't
bond. Thank
even
you
know
for
if
the
you
description. I
interpret the
appreciate it.
data,
Thank you.
Parker. You don't even know if you interpret the data, Parker. How can you know you're interpreting the data correctly?
How do you know that you're interpreting the data correctly? That's literally the question I'm asking you, Godric.
I'm saying that,
Do you not realize that's literally the question I'm asking you? How do you
and
know
that's
how to
why I
interpret
said,
this experience?
and that's
Right?
why I said maybe my age has some perspective because I can interpret this data because I lived
I
the
like how you
experience.
just use a method to differentiate between your experience and mine to accept yours and not mine.
Yeah,
That's like literally what I was asking you for, and apparently your age just means that
like
you're right.
it could mean that my perspective is good. All I'm saying is to consider it, Parker. That's all I'm saying.
I am considering
And
it, right? I'm not like not considering it, right? What I'm saying is that, right, you could also consider that you could be wrong.
I could be wrong. I'll consider that. I could be wrong,
Okay.
but I don't want you to just dismiss personal anecdotal evidence because you could be wrong by that, Parker. You're embracing data and studies because what? There's more people involved,
They're more likely to
but
be
you're
true,
dismissing a
yeah.
personal experience.
Yeah, they're more likely to be true. Right, but when it
Well, Parker,
relates to
if you haven't
this,
had that, right?
I'm telling you there are limitations because there's no way to accept other sort of claims comparative to this one. Right? There's no reason.
Well, Parker, you haven't had these experiences you're taking data on.
What do you
You
mean?
haven't
I
lived
haven't
that
had that
personal
experience.
experience.
I don't need
Well, Parker,
to.
how old are you, Parker? How old are you?
I'm 21. Is your argument literally just I'm younger?
Well, I want to make a point about you being younger, right? And not younger than me, just young in general, right? Like you're 21, right? Have you been married, Parker?
What do you think the answer to that
Have
question
you had
is?
children? I'll answer for you. You haven't been married, haven't had children, probably haven't had a 9 to 5 job where
Why
you
are you
pay
asking
taxes.
those questions? If actually, technically,
Because Parker, this is how
I
you
do
have
do 40 hours a
experiences.
week. Appreciate the handout.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
okay. So this is your job, right? This is your
Yeah.
thing. Are you paying taxes on this, Parker?
Yes. Dean, I appreciate the raid. Thank you so
Wonderful.
much, Dean. Appreciate the raid, man. Thank you so much. W Dean in the chat, everyone. W Dean.
Have you had a child, Parker?
What do you think the answer to
Have
that
you had your
question?
kid
Yes, I've had
look
children.
at you in the eye and say,
Yes, I
you
have
know,
children.
Daddy?
I've raised them for 18 years.
So the thing is, Parker, we can say that you had very little life experience.
No, I've had children. I raised them
But
18
Parker,
years.
if you had I get it, Parker. But if you
I
had
have
very
10
little
I
life
have 10
experience,
children. I have 10 children.
how do you know how to interpret this data, Parker?
I have 10 children.
Unless you've had 10 children, how do you know how to interpret
I
this
have
data
had
about
10
children?
children. Prove me wrong. Are you
Okay,
denying my personal experience?
that's the thing. I don't think you're being
Literally,
serious
people
right
in the
now.
chat right now will tell you that they're my children.
You're not being serious right now, Parker.
I'm being totally serious, bro.
When you have children, I'll tell you this: when you have children, your life's going to
Thank
change,
you,
and
Dean. I
I'm going to
appreciate the
say for the
subscription.
better.
Thank you. I appreciate the raid,
I'm
man.
going to
Thank you
say
so
for
much,
the
Dean.
better, Parker.
What's
And
up?
I'm gonna go with that, and just I want to remind you to consider your personal experience, and if you have a spiritual experience, consider that may be true, even though you may want to call it anecdotal. That's all I wanted to say, Parker.
No, like by definition, that's what it is, right? But again, you're not taking into account any of my concerns. You're telling me to take into account these particular concerns that you have, right? But when
That's
I
right.
bring up concerns that relate to your particular beliefs, right, you didn't hear any of them. You didn't even respond to them.
Well, I don't want to leave you without. If I want to leave you empty-handed, ask me the question again. I didn't mean to ignore you.
Yeah, how do you differentiate between different types of spiritual experiences to say that you accept the conclusions formed by one but not the other?
They're all okay. They're all going to be different. There's no black and white, right? If you have a personal experience or a spiritual experience, and somebody else does it, it may be very valid and legitimate for them. You have to, you know what you have to do? You have to use your better judgment. That's it. There's no way to prove it for sure. Like in life, it's like a life, Parker. You can't prove life. You have to live it and have the experience. That's what I'm telling you to do.
I don't know what you mean
All
by
this
prove
data,
life. Like, what are you trying to say with that? What would it
that
mean to
you can't
prove
live life by
life?
looking at data. You have to have that personal experience. You can't live life reading a book about having a girlfriend. You
Well,
can't.
you
You
can learn
can't.
things about relationships by reading information about different types of relationships, and you can have
But hang
knowledge
on,
about
though. But
relationships
I'm
prior to
gonna
getting
stop you
into
there.
them.
But hang on, though, Parker. You can't interpret that data unless you had that relationship, unless you know what it feels like to have love and have
Thank you
loss,
so much.
and to be
Not
married and to be
necessarily.
divorced and to have a
Not
kid.
necessarily. You're just making claims based upon what's likely given circumstances.
Okay, I'm making claims. Okay, Parker. I made my points. I appreciate you. You're good. keep doing it. And by the way, I'm new to TikTok. So what does this mean? My account got bananas. What does that mean? My account got bananas.
My account is suspended for the next week. I can't go live on my main account.
But like,
And
why does that happen?
they randomly do it. It was for
It's like
quote
a
unquote
random.
misinformation. You've seen my
Oh,
lives. Do you think I engage in misinformation?
you're totally legit, and you're respectable. Respectable. You're
Yeah, they have
a
a terrible
gentleman.
banning system. Like we've had issues with this for a long time. Thank you for the hint. I appreciate it. This is actually like my fourth account because they've
See,
had issues with banning so many times that I've lost multiple accounts.
so TikTok is gonna want to have like 2 or 3 accounts
Yeah, you
because that
kind of
will
have
probably
to.
happen.
Yeah.
Cool. Hey Parker, I appreciate you. You make good points. Thank you. I'll
Appreciate you
jump
coming on.
off. All right, man.
Dean, man, appreciate the raid. QB, man, as well. Appreciate it. Yo, Hayden, I appreciate the sunglasses. Thank you so much. We're going to go into the next person. Only send a guest request if you disagree, if you believe in God. We're just looking for some debates, everyone. Yo, Tank, thank you for the Lucy. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hi, what's up? I'm 23. How old are you?
For sure. Do you believe in God?
Yeah, I do. Uh, I actually started believing in God at the age of 12 or 13. I grew up in a very Christian family, and basically at that age, I questioned God because as every human being should do. I'm sorry if I don't speak English very well. I'm Romanian, so yeah. So what happened was, I'm sorry. I remember I was 12 and I was basically jealous on my sister that she had a bleeding nose every single week. It sounds stupid, but I promise you it's not. So I was jealous on the attention that my parents gave to her. And I have never had a bloody nose. And I remember I was sad, I was upset, and I was looking at the ground, and I just think I said in my own thoughts, I said, God, if you exist, I want my nose to bleed right now. And I didn't even finish the thought, and my nose just started bleeding, and it bled like the whole day. And it was like, wow, okay, that was all I needed. But yeah, I wouldn't really encourage that. Like, yeah, I see the comments. People are like laughing. I was a child.
So
Either
I have a
way, I'm not
question.
encouraging that. Yeah.
Yeah, if we take a circumstance in which this occurs, like you have an answered quote unquote prayer as evidence for, would we take all of the circumstances where people asked for the same thing and didn't receive as evidence against?
No, I haven't received answer to every prayer. It's I think it's wrong to question, oh, why did God did that or why didn't, because we as humans cannot understand God. He's the creator. He chooses what he wants to do, so we can't really understand everything, like why didn't God help that person or why he didn't. They are just things that we cannot comprehend because we're humans, and that's it.
Yeah,
But
so
what do you think? Like,
my
can you
point
prove me that God doesn't exist if you're...
yeah, I can. But my point is that if we take it as evidence for that it happens, right, then it would be evidence against for it to not occur, right? So in the sense that it wouldn't necessarily be showing us that it's determined by this God, more or less that it's just it's some type of event that's associated with it, right?
Yeah, of course, that wasn't the only event that occurred for my faith. I mean, I'm 23. I've been through a lot. I had many experiences with God. So I'm not sure if I understood the question, but yeah, I know that for many people, these things don't happen. Like, they could say the same things as I did at 12 years old, and maybe they didn't have any sign. And I think in the life path, you could start believing God maybe at 40 years old. Maybe then is the plan for God for you to meet him, you know. So yeah, I can't really give you like specific
So you're
answers
saying that
because
God
I
doesn't
don't
want
know
a
everything.
relationship with me right now. If I've asked and I haven't received, God doesn't want a relationship with me right now.
From what I know, like from people and from the Bible, that every single person that truly asks for God will actually receive an answer from Him. Like from
Well, I know
every
many people
person
that
I
have truly
knew.
asked and haven't had a response. So
It
how do you
depends,
know what's
because
truly asking?
if you're just trying to get a supernatural thing, just for God to prove to you that He exists, and maybe that doesn't happen to everyone. Um, but yeah, I know many people that have or have not. But as in the Bible, it says that anyone who asks for anything in my name, he shall receive if he has faith. So it's everything about faith. So you don't know if that person had complete
So you have to
faith,
believe that
or
it's true before you can get any type of evidence.
yeah, faith is, it says in the Bible that is to believe in the things that are unseen.
Okay, so like if I were to believe, say that that when I die, I'm going to I go into a like Bikini Bottom and live in Bikini Bottom with SpongeBob and Patrick. Does that mean it's justified for me to believe that if I have faith in that?
Wow, the comments are just throwing at me. I'm not sure if I understood the question. What bikini bottoms? What SpongeBob?
Oh,
Can you
okay.
repeat that, please?
Yeah. So my point is that like, is there any TV show you watched as a kid?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Like we can just put that in place of anything, right? If I want to believe that I'm going to live in that TV show when I die, right? Just because I have faith in it, does that mean it's justified for me to believe that?
I mean, that's a pretty bad example,
No,
in my
it's not,
opinion, but
because there's no barrier for me to believe or not believe anything when it relates to faith. It's just like some sort of choice that I would have. Why is
we
it a
can go
bad
back to that
example?
because
Oh,
do
you're
you
lagging,
see?
by the way. She's lagging, chat. Hello? I think God raptured her internet, chat.
Yeah,
Hello?
would love that, but yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, for sure. So, yeah,
Anyways, can you
good.
can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Can you prove me that God doesn't exist?
Yeah. So, do you believe in the Christian God?
In the Christian God? Yeah, I believe in God, the only one.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that God is a perfect creator?
Of course, yeah.
If there's someone who's a perfect free throw shooter, do they make every free throw?
I don't understand that word. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. If someone is, do you know what tests are? Like someone takes a test.
Yeah.
Okay. So when it relates to that, if someone is a perfect test taker, right, or a perfect, yeah, do you think that they would get perfect scores on their tests?
As it makes sense, yeah, but you cannot put examples, like humans are not perfect, so you can't really put examples
Oh,
related to
okay.
God. Like,
Okay, so sure. I mean, that's going to be the point, though. If there's a perfect test taker, we expect to see perfect test scores. If there's a perfect creator, we expect to see perfect creations, right? Or
yes,
perfect
I
things
know
that are
where you're going
that are
with that,
created.
because every time I say God is real, I get this. Oh, but why there are many children that are dying?
I'm not
Why
asking you that
there
right
are so
now.
many
I'm asking you
problems?
something very
Yeah,
specific
but I
right
think
now.
you're going there, so
No, I'm not. Not yet.
okay.
Not yet. That's a different argument, right? I'm arguing perfection right now. If there's a perfect test taker, there's perfect test scores, right? If there's a perfect creator, right, the expectation would be that there's a perfect creation or that there are perfect things created. If you agree that human beings are
Yes.
created by God and they're not perfect, that tells us that they don't have a perfect creator because, again, that would entail perfect creation, and we don't exist in perfect creation. So that's the way
Okay,
I can just
I
dispute the
will
idea that there's a
contradict you
perfect
on
God.
that because, okay, so I think you read the Bible when God created Eve, even the Eden garden, right? It was a perfect world. It was Adam and Eve, and because God loves the people and gives them free will, it says, okay, you have the choice to stay here in the perfect life. There was no death. There was no how do you say, illness. Everything was perfect. So perfect life, a perfect word, right, for both of them. But God gave them the choice. Okay, if you want to go and to the rebellion, you have a tree right there. You can take the apple, and you know what happened next. So that's how sin entered the world. So
Yeah, so
that's
the
why
idea
they're
is
mainly.
if they're perfect, they would have never succumbed to that temptation in the first place. That's the idea.
So the humans were perfect. Like, they didn't have any illnesses. They had free will.
Yeah, and
That doesn't
Jesus.
mean they're imperfect. They have free will.
So so the point would be is that Jesus had free will, right?
Of course, yeah.
And Jesus always did the good thing, regardless of the scenario, regardless of whether or not the devil tempted him to do bad. Because he's perfect. So if he did that because he's perfect, then that tells us that if an entity is perfect, then they will always do the good thing, right? As that is entailed given that they are perfect. It would be a flaw if they were to do the bad thing, right? So the
Of
whole
course,
idea
yeah.
that they would have ever ate something off the tree of knowledge, right, which is considered a bad thing, when they are perfect, is contradictory in terms.
Yes, but Adam and Eve weren't God. Jesus was God. So it
Yeah,
was
that doesn't
expected
matter,
from
right?
him.
That doesn't matter. They both have the same property of being perfect, which would
Yeah,
entail that they
perfect as
always
in
do
they
the good
had
thing.
no illnesses. That doesn't mean that they would never choose the bad side.
No, yes, it does
Like,
because no, perfect means flawless within the Bible, right? It describes perfection as flawless. Okay,
yes,
sin is
and
a
they were
flaw
perfect
under the
until
guise
they
of
made the
wait, hold up.
choice.
Under the notion of Christianity, sins are a flaw. So if they engage in the bad thing, that would mean that they were not flawless.
Okay, so I don't know how to explain this better, but when you say perfect, only God is perfect. He created Adam and Eve perfectly. But because they made the choice of rebellion, that's how the sin entered.
So then they weren't perfect. That's my point. Is that if they ended up
No,
going
they
and
were
doing the
perfect
bad
before
thing,
choosing the sin. Oh my
no,
God.
no, if they ended up doing the bad thing, which is considered a flaw, right, that would mean that they were not flawless. That's just like by definition. Because flawless
Okay, but
entails
when
that
you
you don't
say
have any
perfect,
flaws.
no. So, okay, let's say it was perfect, as you said. If God created Adam and Eve in a perfect garden, but didn't give the choice to bite the apple and enter sin into their life, wasn't that like a
What do you
captive
mean?
place to hold to? Meaning that, okay, you cannot make a choice. You will have to worship only me because I am the only choice, and live only for me.
No, they have the
Because God loved them
choice.
so much, they gave them the choice. Exactly. So that
No,
only
no, no,
shows
no. I
love
agree
and
they have the
perfectness from
choice.
God.
No, no, no. I agree they have the choice, but they're always going to choose the right thing, the same way that Jesus, right, has the choice, right, but always chooses to do the right thing.
No, it doesn't mean that they will choose the right thing if they're created perfectly.
It actually does. Because then
No,
if
it
you
doesn't,
say that they
because
are going to do the
only
bad thing,
God knows.
Cherry, I
No,
want you to
only
listen to
God
me for a second
knows.
because I've said this now 3 times, right? If they choose to do the bad thing, that entails that they have a flaw under your view, right? So you can't say that they're perfect and flawed at the same time. That's a logical
Look,
contradiction.
I didn't say Adam and Eve were perfect. I said they were created perfectly, meaning they had no physical flaw, they had no illness. Do you understand?
So they do have
Like,
flaws. They're not completely flawless.
they're humans like us. They don't
No,
have supernatural
are they completely
knowledge like
flawless?
God.
Are they completely flawless?
What? Are they
Are they
completely flawless?
flawless?
I repeat again, they were created perfectly. That doesn't mean that they were perfect. They were humans.
So you're denying the claim that a perfect creator would entail a perfect creation?
I said they were created perfectly.
I don't know what that means. Can you explain what that means?
Perfectly, but had free will.
Yeah, can you
That
explain what
doesn't
it
make
means to
them,
be perfect?
as I said, to be created perfect means to have no illness, no physical flaw, right? We are humans. Like, we cannot have the knowledge of, like, God, to know, oh, if I choose that, maybe Satan will actually fool me. Eve didn't have that knowledge because she wasn't God. So we cannot compare Adam and Eve with Jesus when he came to earth.
So wouldn't the ability to be deceived, wouldn't that be a flaw? So like the idea is that
No,
if
that's
we have
human.
what?
If you remember, when Jesus was human, Satan actually came to tell him, hey, if you want the word, I could give it to you. Like, he came to him because he saw him as human. But of course, he was God. He was perfect. But Adam and Eve were not perfect. They were humans.
Yeah, so
God
why did
created
God
them
make them
perfectly, but gave them
imperfect?
free will. So that's why
You're
they
contradicting yourself,
eventually made the
right?
bad choice.
You're
No, I'm not.
simultaneously
I don't
trying
think
to
you really
play.
understand.
No, I am understanding. You're saying you're trying to simultaneously say that they're perfect and imperfect. Okay? You
Look, you
can't say that
haven't
they're
even gave
created
me.
perfectly and then they're also imperfect because that would entail a
Okay,
contradiction.
that I told you to prove me that God doesn't exist. That really doesn't
It
prove
literally
anything.
does. It actually literally
It
does,
really
right?
doesn't.
No, it
It
does. It
doesn't. But
absolutely does. I mean, if you want to engage with the points, right, you can, because again, the points are
look,
laid out
you're
right in front
putting
of you.
questions that basically only God can answer. I'm not God.
I'm
I
not
don't
putting
know
questions
why
only a
we're
God can
here.
answer. What I'm showing is the
Really,
logical contradiction, right? And you're not willing to accept the logical
it's really not.
contradiction because it seems like you have a bias towards this particular belief.
Okay.
I mean,
So
would you
you
like to
can't
go
really
through the
prove.
points?
You didn't prove anything. Like, can you prove me that God doesn't exist? Because this doesn't prove
We
anything.
literally are going through the argument right now. We have just gone through it. Like,
That's your
if
only
you,
argument. Something
I
that
have many other
really.
arguments that I can run, but this is the simplest argument I can show you, right? And that shows a contradiction, the easiest to
Look,
understand.
scientifically, it's already proven that God is our creator.
That's clearly
And
not true. Yeah,
yes, it
give
is.
me the fucking peer-reviewed study. Like what?
Okay, so
What peer-reviewed study indicates God exists? Please let me know.
I don't understand the word peer leads, whatever, but I
Peer
can give you an
review. What
example.
study?
There
What
are so
study?
many
Yeah,
examples,
go
however,
for it.
but okay, let's say the fact that our Earth is at the perfect distance from the sun, right? And it rotates perfectly so that it doesn't get too close for people to die or too far for people to die. So that's obviously gravity. But who made? Are you saying something?
Who made gravity? Is that
Who?
your question?
Yeah, who made gravity? God made
You
gravity.
think this scientifically
Who
this is
made the math?
by the way,
Who made the
one,
math so that the
I
Earth?
just wanted to explain this to you. This isn't scientific. This would be a rational proof because we're relating to the
Look,
teleological
the
argument or
Big
fine
Bang
tuning.
theory or the
Okay,
evolution theory, they're
hold
bullshit.
up. Let me
So
explain. Yeah, no. So this is not relating to evolution. This is particularly you're asking the question, right? Why are the constants of the universe, like gravity, other things like this, why are they this way rather than being another way, right? That would have meant like we don't actually have the ability for life to function. That's kind of the question that you're asking, okay? And
look,
the
then
issue with
how
this
do you think
argument,
the world was created? How do you think the Earth was created?
yeah, okay, can I get to that?
Please.
Yeah. So, when it relates to this, the issue with that is that the same issue itself applies to God as well, right? There's an infinite set of worlds that God could have created comparative to the world that we currently exist in. God could have created a world with only slime in it. God could have created a world with only marbles in it. God could have created a world with only wind without gravity, with gravity, with floating angels, with floating pigs, right? But God decides to pick this reality comparative to the infinite set of other realities that could have happened, given God desiring something else. Okay, so in the same way that you say that like the constants of the universe under a naturalist model would have to be a particular way to bring about this reality rather than another one, well, you have to say the same thing about God's desires, and you have to assume the exact same thing. So in the same way that you assume that God has the necessary desires to bring about this reality comparative to another one, right? I can just assume under a naturalist perspective that the prior state that is like natural that led to our existence also had the necessary properties to bring about this reality comparative to another one, right? And it seems like there's nothing that's differentiating either of these explanations within that respect. So it seems like we'd have to appeal to something else to justifying whether or not this particular entity exists.
Mm-hmm. Okay, then how was the world created? When did the earth appeared?
Oh, I don't think there's
I
a
want to see your
sufficient.
point of view because
Yeah, I don't think there's a sufficient explanation, but I can provide you an explanation that is more likely to be true than yours based upon a theoretical
really,
virtue called simplicity. Simplicity would just be relating to the idea that I would require less assumptions within my model to explain why we exist, right, than you would.
wow, because you say it in less words. That's crazy.
No, no, not in less
Good for
words,
you.
less assumptions. I require less assumptions. Like I don't have to assume
Assumptions.
that God is all knowing, all powerful, all good. I don't have to assume that God
No, you don't.
has awareness.
He
I don't
is.
have to assume that God is judgment. I don't have to assume angels and demons exist. I don't have to assume the claims in the Bible, resurrection, right? All of those things I do not have to assume, and I can still explain the question as to why we exist.
You still haven't answered to me. Like, how do you think the Earth appeared?
I actually did answer you, right? Very clearly. My answer was very, very clear. I said that I don't have a sufficient explanation, but I can provide you an explanation that
Okay,
is more
provide me,
likely to be true
please.
than yours. Yeah, I just did. A prior state of fundamental particles within the universe that is eternal, has always existed, right? And has the necessary properties to bring about this reality rather than another one. I cut off all of those
Okay,
other assumptions.
there's already so much proof that the Earth actually had a starting point. So your argument is not really
I'm not
good.
disputing the idea that Earth has a starting point. Clearly it does. I mean,
Okay,
but like
so
it could be a
someone
natural
had
starting point.
a natural starting point, or really, then why just us?
Why just us rather than another one? Because again, this prior state had the necessary properties to bring about this reality rather than another one. The same way that your God has the necessary desires to bring about a reality with me and you as human beings interacting with each other, rather than a reality with just birds, or a reality with just
Okay,
marbles,
so
or a
let me
reality with
just get this
SpongeBob and
straight.
Patrick.
Okay, let me just get this right. You think that you just appeared out of nowhere and that the Earth just evolved on its own, right?
So there were natural processes in which the Earth evolved, but it didn't come from nowhere under this model. Under this model, it came from this initial state of fundamental particles.
So why did our planet stopped evolving then?
Why did our planet stop evolving? What do you mean? We still, in terms of evolution, it's still occurring, right? Like adaptations, mutations, are still occurring. So I don't know what you're talking about. Like literally, my hair color, my
Okay,
eye color, these are mutations.
so why I don't believe your argument is because every single thing has a creator. Nothing is created just with nothing.
Okay, so including God, God also has a creator.
No,
So in the same
God
way
is
that
the
God doesn't have a
creator.
creator,
You know,
the,
it's
the the fundamental particles don't have a creator because they're eternal and always existed. So it led to our existence, it led to our causation, right? But it's not a creator within the respect that it doesn't have a mind.
like I think what is really hard for you and for many people, and for me as well, is to understand how is a creator so majestic and mighty so that he doesn't have anything above him. I understand that, but I think it's foolishness of us to try to understand his mind. He's a creator, literally. So
These are just like
Whatever.
assumptions, and this is like irrational argumentation. You're just like saying that like we're just going to assume that it has qualities to explain this without having that. And if you do that, I can do the same thing under my model. Do you understand that? I did the exact
I
same
think at
thing.
this point, you also said a lot of assumptions.
Yeah, I'm
Can you
comparing
prove anything
models.
that you've said that we
Yeah,
appeared out of nothing? Can you prove
I
that?
don't, I
Okay,
never
prove it
said
to me.
that. Cherry,
Make something
that's
out of nothing. I really
disingenuous.
want to see it.
That's disingenuous, Cherry. I never argued that. Okay? I could say the same thing that you think Sky Daddy spawned this reality into existence. I don't make arguments
No,
like
but
that because they're bad
what you
faith.
said is
Hold on. Because
unlogical.
they're bad faith. You just said nothing created something, and that's what I said. I never made that claim. I said a prior state of fundamental particles in which has the necessary properties to bring about this reality rather than another one. Right?
Yeah, you say a lot of words, but logically, I
What
think you
is
just
logic?
cannot understand something that makes sense. That's logic.
No,
It
what
doesn't
is
make
logic?
sense to think that our planet and everything that's on it was created out of nothing. And the whole universe was just created out of nothing.
Wait, Sherry, did you just hear me? I never said that. When did I say that?
Then, well, that's my question. How do you think the Earth appeared?
Hey, when did I make that claim? I literally gave you a reason. I gave you an explanation. I gave you a comparative analysis. I gave you contradictions, right? And you didn't take
Yeah, you
into
said a
account
lot of
any of
words,
them.
but it's like nothing. It's
Well, it's because you
again
didn't listen to it.
assumptions.
Hey, can
Yes,
you
I
tell me
did,
my
but it doesn't
arguments?
prove anything.
Okay, then go through my argument. Let me know what my argument was.
Did you say something?
Yeah, what was my argument?
You said a lot of words. Again, I'm Romanian. It's very hard for me to understand them. But with the whole English, I know it just you haven't made a straight exact things for me to understand simply.
I did. Maybe you didn't
Like I
understand me.
told
Maybe
you,
there's a language barrier, right? But I absolutely did.
probably. Yeah, probably you should try like a simpler language
I
because
can't speak any other language.
no, I said like try to say things simply because you just complicate things a lot when they're just so simple.
I
Have you
did use very
ever?
simple language.
Okay, great. Can you tell me if you have ever read the Bible like
Appreciate
completely?
the galaxy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. No, but like, do you want to respond to any of my arguments, or you didn't even tell me what my point was? You didn't hear any of my arguments. You can't say that my arguments are bad if you didn't even hear them or didn't even understand them.
I didn't say your arguments are bad,
You did.
did I? I don't remember. Sorry. But what I understood
Yikes.
from what you said was um, the fact that you said that you believe that we um, we had a starting point and it just evolved. Did I understood that correctly?
We had a starting point, and then there was evolution after some point.
Okay, then how did we appear if we had a starting point?
How did we appear? Due to evolutionary processes and complexities, again, resulting from this like prior state of fundamental particles, or state that was before us of particles that have properties that are necessary for our existence.
Okay, I'm just gonna give up because I think maybe there's a language barrier, but you can't really give me like a simple answer how
What
were
did
we
I say that was
created.
not simple there?
You said a lot of words. I understand your words, but they make no sense. I don't know if it's only me. Is it only me, guys?
Do you want? You can ask the chat. I appreciate the happy weekend. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I thought what I said was very simple.
Yeah, it's me. Okay. Okay, well then, you know what? I'm just gonna
All
get
right. I
off and
appreciate you
let
coming
others.
on. Thank you so much. All right, everyone. Only send a guest request if you disagree. Tap that screen, everyone. Let's try to get to 250,000 likes. We are on my second account, everyone, because I did get bananaed on my main account for a week, or suspended on live stream for a week because of quote unquote misinformation. Obviously, I didn't engage in. Thank you for the hand, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're gonna go on to the next person, though. Only send a guest request if you disagree. We're just looking for some debates, y'all.
Hello.
Yo, what's up?
Hi,
How old are
hello.
you?
I'm 19. What's up?
Yeah, what's your birth year?
2004, February 10th.
For sure. Do you think that God exists?
Yeah, so I wanted to point out one of your points from earlier. You said that you listed one reason as to why God's not perfect is because his creation's imperfect.
Yeah, I think that would result in a contradiction, as I think that you're committed to believing that a perfect creator would entail perfect things created. As we would
Well,
say, like perfect test takers would entail perfect tests taken, perfect free throw shooters would entail perfect amount of free throws made.
well, to me, that's more empty rhetoric than logic. So like when the girl was saying that you weren't making sense, it's because you weren't. It was just rhetoric. So what I mean, you're
What
saying,
about what I said that was just rhetoric?
okay, so you're saying, oh, if God's creation imperfect, like humans messing up, right, and sinning, for example, right? According to the Bible, people who kill, all these things, sinful, so they're imperfect, right? Imperfect
Under the Bible's sense, not my sense. Internal critique, remember?
imperfect in the sense of their behavior, right? But you're implying that there's a flaw in God's creation for giving those people free will. You can't explain that.
Well, no, first of all, you'd have to explain that free will entails the idea of evil, which it does not. Because if you're committed to the idea that Jesus has free will and that God has free will, then you're also committed to saying that you can always do good, right? And then if also God is all knowing and all powerful, God has every single possible world in front of him. One of those possible worlds, it is the case that no one sinned at all freely, right? As it is the case that it's possible every single day for me to not sin. Do you agree? Like there's some level of probability in that.
Okay, can you repeat just your main point? Like I get the example.
Is there some level of probability that I will not sin every single day?
I think most of the time we probably will sin like once a day at least.
Okay, but most of the time, but even if it's 0.01% chance, right?
Yeah, no, there is a
that
chance
I will not sin every day. Okay, well the same thing is true for every other human being. So there is an infinitesimally small percentage that every single person in the world would just never sin on every single day freely, right? There is one world in which indicates this. And the thing is, God, as this particular entity, can actualize that particular individual world, right? And there's still free will in that world, and no one sins, right? That would be expected given that your God exists, as your God has a preference against sin.
Yeah, so my response to that is that's your perception of what a perfect world would be, because God
that's your own God's.
No, it's yours, because you're saying that people can't choose to do wrong because that means they're imperfect. God gave us free will. It says that in the Bible. And if God gave us free will and he's a knowledgeable, all-knowing being, he knew we would sin. So if God knew we would sin, that implies that his creation is still perfect because that was in the plan. You just don't like it.
Okay, so now you're just saying it's in the plan. Now you're saying that sin is necessary. Okay, right? But you saying sin is necessary didn't respond to the point that I just made and the argument that I just made in terms of the probability of there being
necessary.
You actually did just make that argument. You said it's a part of the plan. The only way that it can be a justified aspect of the plan is if it's necessary, right? If it's not necessary for there to be sin and for there to be bad, even if there's free will, well, then you're just telling me that God is creating unnecessary pain and unnecessary harm.
Sorry. Repeat that. My bad.
You're telling me that God is creating unnecessary harm then, by creating the world in which there is sin.
Unnecessary to who?
In existence to anyone.
Well, why are you saying? What's your premise for saying it's unnecessary? Because people are hurt.
No, because there would be no purpose achieved from this. If you're not arguing, you said it was unnecessary. You said that you said that you were not making the claim that it's necessary, and it's either necessary or unnecessary.
No, but I had responded to something different right now.
Okay, I don't know what you're responding to. Then can you let me know?
Okay, so okay, let's just restart. So what was your main point that you left off on, so I could respond to it?
I just said it. Right? What are you talking about?
That. So no, I don't get you. Like, what are you trying to get at? So you're saying
Can you say what I just said?
that you're saying sin either needs to be necessary or unnecessary?
Yeah, I did make that claim because you made the claim that you were not saying it's necessary. So if you're not saying it's necessary, you're saying it's unnecessary.
Well, now you're giving me a false dichotomy. I'm saying it's just part of the
Why is necessary and unnecessary a false dichotomy?
because you're saying that I need to know whether or not if sin is necessary. Why does sin need to be necessary?
Well,
Or
because it would be
unnecessary?
for a greater good. Because the only way that you can justify bad is if it's for that greater good. Like in the sense that like me causing like unnecessary pain to my child, I'm going to see is like, for example, I'll give you an example, right? Let's say that like my kid has like some sort of disease, right?
Uh-huh.
And I have the cure in front of me, right? And it
Yeah.
will just cure them, and then they'll be okay, right? And then
Yeah.
also next to that, I have a cure, but it's going to give them back pain. Right?
Mhm.
Do you think it would be immoral for me to give them the one that causes back pain because the other one can just cure them without giving them back pain?
Would it be immoral for you to give them a pain reliever instead of curing them?
No, it's a cure, but that gives them back pain as
That
well.
gives them back
So
is
there's
that
one that
immoral?
just gives them a cure and no back pain, and the other one gives them a cure with back pain.
What is this proving though?
I'm showing that unnecessary pain you think is bad.
Unnecessary. Okay, so this is my point on pain. So with pain, if we think about it, Jesus was sent to this earth. Why was Jesus sent to earth?
I like how you just completely ignored my point.
No, okay, I'm responding to your point like how you did. Like you gave examples and stuff. I'm gonna answer you through examples and stuff. And if you think I haven't, you could readdress it. So I'm saying Jesus was sent on earth for a purpose, right? The purpose was to die for our sins. So God's Son sent a perfect being, right? Perfect being, right? We know this from, so if we're like, right, for the sake of the argument, we're saying Jesus was perfect, right? So this perfect being was sent to earth to die for our sins and suffer for us. So for you guys to say that this is bad for us to happen, or this is suffering, or this is pain, this is bad, you can't say that because we're unperfect, and the one perfect being was sent to die. They were literally sent to die. That shows us that there's more to pain and suffering and death than we think. It's not as black as white as we're trying to say.
So you're trying to say that the pain is necessary for some greater good to be achieved.
Yeah, sure, it's necessary. Sure, I'll change it to say it's necessary.
Okay. So now you're making the argument that there is no probability in which I could always do the right thing. So God is holding me to a standard that is literally logically impossible to meet.
Well, yeah, you would never be able to be perfect. Like every day of your life, you would never be able to.
Yeah,
be perfect.
so God is literally holding me to a standard that is actually logically impossible for me to reach. That's like me saying I'm going to hold you to judgment that if you can't just, whip out some wings from your back right now naturally and fly up in the air, right? I'm going to send you to hell.
Yeah, that's true. But my response to that would be, but that's why he's a just God. That's
what?
Why. No, wait. Let me finish my point, please. This is an important point. The reason why he's a just God is because he knows we are imperfect, right? And you're first of all, you're implying that we deserve God's mercy, right? We're imperfect. We don't need God's mercy, but he gave us his mercy by sending his perfect son to die.
Well, the only reason that we would quote unquote need God's mercy is because God made us this way. God literally made it so it's logically impossible for us to do the right thing. I appreciate the galaxy. Thank you so much, Rachel. All right, so it's logically impossible for us to do the right thing, and then God holds us to the standard of doing that. Literally, that's me creating you so that you can't pull out wings from your back and fly into the air, and then getting mad at you and putting you in hell whenever you can't do that. So
yeah, like I said, right? God sent Jesus to die so we can be forgiven.
Create a squared circle right now. Do it. If you can't do it, I'm sending you to hell.
That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You're trying
That is literally what he's asking you then.
No.
You said that it's logically contradictory.
Because you're saying that we need to be perfect or we're going to hell. That's not true. We just need to believe in Jesus, according to Christian religion, right?
Yeah, which you agree is a good action, right? Believing in God wait, hold up. Believing in God is the moral action, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. right?
Wait,
So
wait,
if
wait,
you're
wait,
telling
wait,
me,
wait,
if you're
wait,
telling me that there's not a probability that in every scenario I can do the moral action, then you're saying that there is not a probability in every scenario I could have faith in God. That's what you're saying,
wait, how do those correlate? Repeat that again.
right? Because it's a good thing. It's a moral thing to do.
So you're wait, just say that again.
Dude, I honestly like okay, all right. So you're saying that it's a moral thing to have faith in God, correct?
A moral thing to have faith in God. Sure.
And you're saying that there's not a probability, there's zero probability that I will be able to do the good thing in all circumstances.
You
So
have
there's a zero
probability.
there's a
You have
zero probability
to
that
be
I will
perfect.
be able to have faith in all circumstances.
No, that's not true. You have zero
That is literally
probability.
logically entailed given that statement. So
Well,
you
well,
agreed with the point that would logically entail it, and then you disagreed with the logical entailment. So you're rejecting logic?
no, so you can have faith, but I guess in the truest sense of faith, you didn't have complete faith because if you truly trusted God completely, you wouldn't
So
have
you
chosen.
didn't have faith. So you didn't have faith. It's either you have faith or you don't have faith. You can't have faith and then not completely have faith. That doesn't make any sense.
No, you can. This is the thing. We all fall short of the glory of God. So no one can be perfect, right? That's why Jesus was sent to show the perfect example. So you're saying
Yeah,
that
but wait, an example is something that you could fulfill, right? If you can't fulfill that example, then why would it be an example that's relevant? It's not one that's relevant. You can't even fulfill it.
well, my response, the reason would be, is so that's why we have a God to worship and adhere to them because they're all great and all powerful and all benevolent.
So God made us in a particular way so that we're dependent on its existence insofar as that we need them so that we can do the right thing. If we don't have them, then we can't do the right thing.
Okay, so
ultimately, this sounds like a manipulative and coercive relationship built around making us be in a subservient position to God so that God can control us.
okay, I'm gonna say you can say that, but you literally are using rhetoric by saying it in the worst words possible. Because I could say the same
I'm
thing.
not using the worst words possible. I'm literally
No,
just
you
telling you
literally
what you're
are.
saying.
I could say the same thing you said, but like this: God, all loving God, made us when He didn't have to, and although we are imperfect beings, He shows us love and mercy and even forgiveness to have eternal life with Him.
Well, that's not actually describing the reality of the case, right? Because the reality of the case is that they created us in a way in which we are dependent on them, right? Literally, I actually described it. You are like making a vague sense of what it is, right? I'm literally describing exactly what it is. You're taking out part of it. You think I'm just like, I'm trying to make it be perceived a particular way. No, I'm telling you what you literally have just said. This is literally an observation. This is not me trying to portray it in a
So what
particular
am I
way.
literally saying? That's a contradiction or like wrong on my part.
You're
Like
saying you're saying that you cannot do the right thing in all scenarios.
okay, we cannot do the right thing in all scenarios. Okay.
Yeah. So you're literally. So what's the logical contradiction with doing the right thing?
What do you mean?
Why can't I logically do the right thing right now?
Why can't you logically do the right thing right now?
Yeah, like you're saying that there's some sort of contradiction with me doing the right thing right now.
No, there's no contradiction with you doing the right thing.
So I can do the right thing right now.
Well, in the sense of what? Like I don't understand.
So in every moment of my life, I can do the right thing.
In every moment of your life, you have the choose. You could have the opportunity to choose good. Yes.
Yeah. So there's some probability that I'm going to do the good thing.
Yeah, sure. There could be a probability.
Okay. So if there's some probability that I'm going to do the good thing, well, that's also going to be true for every other human on the planet.
Yeah. So everyone has a probability.
Oh, okay. So everyone has a probability that they're always, that they're going to do the good thing, and that. Wait, hold up. Let me finish.
Okay.
Right. Let me get to the argument. Right? Everyone's going to have a probability with every single one of their choices that they're going to do the right thing.
Wait. So everyone's gonna have.
Everyone has a probability that
Okay.
every single one of their choices that they're going to do the right thing.
Sure.
Okay, right? So there's one possible world, right, in which every single person did that right thing.
No.
What tell me how you got to that point.
Okay.
Because that's literally logically entailed given the first premise.
So the thing that you're missing is you're trying to strawman my argument in a way to where you're saying everyone needs to be perfect because there's a probability. Each probability of someone's choice, right? It's relative to them on their. That's why we have free will. You're saying it as if like Like, I don't even know. Like, how
No,
to
can I
say.
clarify? Right.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
let's
Go
say
ahead. Go
let's say
ahead.
the probability for each individual that they do the right thing is 0.00001%.
So you're
Right. So
saying
what
like
you would do
no,
is you
no,
would
no, no. So you're saying
multiply
the
that
probability for what?
percentage. You'd
Wait, I'm not.
multiply that percentage,
Uh-huh.
right? Comparative to every other percentage, like 0.0000001 times 0.000000001, and you're gonna have an infinitesimally small number, right? There's going to be like one reality, right? Out of the infinite set of, well, there's going to be actually an infinite set of realities in which this happens because
Mhm.
there's an infinite set of possible things that could have happened. But I digress. There's one reality that we find, right, in
Uh-huh.
which this happens,
Yeah,
okay?
sure.
Because it's so small in likelihood to occur,
Yeah,
okay?
like it could have hypothetically. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So
Okay.
God can select that world because God has a choice between the infinite set of worlds. Okay.
Yeah.
And
So I would
God
agree
would
with
prefer
you.
this world over other worlds because it has no sin in it. Right. And God has a preference against sin. So it's literally logically entailed that your God would select this world. Right. And we don't exist in this world. So that tells us that your God does not exist.
Okay. So you said that God would prefer like no sin over sin, right?
Yeah,
So
clearly.
in the most simplest sense, yes, God would rather us have not sinned than sinned. But the situation that doesn't mean, right? So just because God prefers sin, that doesn't automatically prove your implication that
Wait, God prefers sin?
no. I'm saying you saying that God prefers no sin, right? That doesn't automatically prove your point that just because God allows sin means his creation is imperfect.
No, God can only allow sin if it's necessary. Because if there's a world that he could have selected in which that didn't exist, God would have selected that world.
Yeah, and I said it was necessary. We had
Oh yeah, but if it is necessary, you're saying that it's literally there's a logical contradiction or zero probability that you can do the right thing. So you come to an issue of, oh, God is holding us to a standard that we literally logically speaking couldn't fulfill. Right? But you have no point for that at all.
No,
Right?
I'm
That it's
saying
logically impossible. You
I
can't give
said
me the contradiction. You
no, I
can't give
said
me
I
the
agree with
contradiction.
you. I agree with you that if we're talking in terms of just like pure just like theory like theoretical conversation about probability, then yes, obviously there's this like small like numbers wise, yes, there is a probability that there could be a world with complete perfection numbers wise, right? I'm talking about numbers wise. Just because there is a probability though, like what are you trying to connect the dots
That
to?
would mean that God can select that world. So if God can select that world over a world in which
Uh-huh.
there is like children that get raped, in
Uh-huh.
which there's genocide, in which there's people that die of like natural disasters and illness, there's kids that die of cancer, right? Over child sex trafficking, all these different things that are bad that happen. God, you're saying that God would prefer the world where there's child sex trafficking over the world where there's not child sex trafficking?
Well, yeah, you can say it in those terms, right? But like how I said, if this is our perception of everything. Obviously,
No.
these
Answer
things are
my
valid
question. Do you think that God would prefer a world where there's child sex trafficking or a world without child sex trafficking?
without sex trafficking.
Clearly, right? So if
Yeah.
it's possible for God to create that world, God would have created that world. Or are
No.
you saying that no?
Yeah, I said no to that. So you're would?
Okay, so you think that God would prefer a world, right? It's possible for
No.
God to prefer a world in which there's child sex trafficking over no child sex trafficking.
No.
Okay, so then
Because your would isn't definitive. That's subjective.
what?
Your would to that last sentence is subjective, not objective. It's not a definitive statement. You need to prove that.
I need to prove what in terms of the would?
So you're saying that since God prefers no sin or prefers no sin over sin, that so he would choose that perfect world because it could exist, right? I'm saying
Yeah. God can create that world, and
because
God
it could.
would create that world. Why?
Yeah.
Because it's logically entailed, right? Given that God, right, prefers
Uh-huh.
no sin, right? Because God has a preference against sin. Okay, that is literally logically entailed given your belief. I literally just proved it for you.
No, but I'm saying that just because he prefers no sin over sin doesn't mean that God wouldn't tolerate sin. You're saying that he wouldn't tolerate sin.
Wait. Yeah, God would only tolerate sin if it was for there to be a greater good.
Yeah,
But
and
if it's unnecessary, then there
it's
is no greater
necessary.
good. So therefore,
said-
God would not tolerate that
No,
sin.
and then
But
some
and
people
also to say that God would tolerate sin without purpose is literally to contradict yourself. Okay?
Okay.
Because if God didn't care about it, right, then it wouldn't be the case that God has a preference against sin. So there's literally a contradiction there.
Okay, so I said that it was necessary. So that takes
So
away
now
your
you have to give me the contradiction in terms of your ability to do the good thing, which you won't do, which you can't do.
Wait. So what is the remaining contradiction? Break it down again. What
You
contradiction?
have to provide a contradiction with one's ability to do the right thing. And right now, because then I can keep asking you. If I were to ask you the same question, do I have the
What
ability
question?
to do the right thing right now for the
Yeah.
rest of my life and every second of the day? Right? Would you say yes, that I have
Yeah.
the ability to do that? Okay.
Yeah.
If that's the case, it's also true for other people, correct?
Sure.
Okay. So you can't make the claim that it's logically impossible for me to have the ability to do the right thing in every single scenario. Why?
Well,
Because then you'd be rejecting the idea that when I ask you the question throughout the entire day, every 1 second, right, that I would have the ability to do that. Okay, so you're literally, there's literally a contradiction that's entailed given this point of view. I'm concerned as to how you don't see it at this point.
Well, I feel like the same way towards you though, because
What contradiction have you shown me with my view?
So just because we have the ability to be perfect and we fall short of it doesn't mean we didn't have that ability, right? That doesn't mean we didn't have that opportunity.
I'm not saying that, right? What I'm saying is that it would be logically entailed that we would do the right thing, right? You would have to deny that God would have knowledge of what world. Thank you for the hand, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No, because I'm saying that sin and imperfection was part of the plan. And you're trying to say that though, so you're
that doesn't make any sense, dude. That you're now saying that God prefers sin, which is a contradiction.
It's not saying God prefers sin.
That's literally what you just said.
There's a bigger plan.
Yeah, a bigger plan. A bigger plan would entail that there has to be a greater good achieved from the sin.
Okay, well, yeah,
right. So it's necessary. If there's a greater good, then it has to be necessary. And if it's necessary, then there has to be sin.
Yeah, and I said it is.
Okay, and if sin is necessary, then you have to give me the logical contradiction with me not being able to do the right thing in right now, and then also when I ask you that question throughout the rest of my life. Okay?
Well, there's no logical contradiction. I don't understand what you're saying.
Exactly. So it's not necessary. Because you have to make the argument that it's literally logically necessary. Because the only thing limiting God,
sin.
A world without sin is logically. A world with sin is logically necessary. That's what you're arguing.
Is logically necessary? No.
That's not what you're arguing.
A world with sin is.
If it's not logically necessary, then God can create a world where there's not sin and they still have free will.
Well,
okay? So you literally have to argue that it's logically necessary for there to be sin.
Well, I would say to God, He has a logical plan to Him, but I can't understand a perfect being.
Yeah, I know. This is exactly what I'm saying. You're saying God prefers sin, or sin ought to occur. That's literally what you're arguing right now.
No, I'm not arguing that. So I'm gonna go through my point one more time, right? And then if we come to the same point, I'll just leave. But so my last point. This is my point. God made us with a plan, and in that plan we sin and we all mess up, right? So and my point. So your point is, if God could create a perfect world, why didn't He?
No,
right?
That's not my point. My point is that it's literally logically entailed, right? That if God can create a better world, that God would, because God's all good. And what means when you say that God is all good is that He's going to pick the most preferred world.
Yeah, but this is the thing. You're saying preferred and all these things. These
are in His own sense.
These are
no, it's not subjective to me. This is an internal critique, so it's God's preference, not my preference. I don't fucking care about the person who lied about there being a cookie jar in a fucking kindergarten classroom. I don't care. That's what God cares about.
It's
okay.
subjective to you that in the moment, that wrongness overshadows the greater good that will come from everything. That's your perception of that. You need to prove that, and you're jumping that bridge of logic right there.
Yeah, the way to say that it's literally required, you have to literally say it's logically necessary. Thank you for the good afternoon. I appreciate it. That's what you're not understanding. Is if that sin is not logically necessary, then it doesn't have to occur.
Yeah, I said it's logically necessary to God.
It is logically necessary. Okay, if it's logically necessary, what's the contradiction of the otherwise? Of there not being sin.
Well, it's logically necessary in terms of its occurrence, but I'm saying that we all have the opportunity to be perfect, but we fall short. So that's just God's plan. It's like you're telling me to explain.
So now you're saying we do have the ability. Okay, so if we have the ability, then it's not logically necessary for there to be
No,
sin.
just because we have the
Appreciate the
ability,
train. Thank you so much.
just
Appreciate
because
it.
we
If
have
we
the
have the ability, that implies that there's literally a possibility, dude. Like, I don't know what you're saying.
yes, there is the possibility, but we always fall short.
Okay, yeah, sure, you can think that, no, we don't always fall short, because if there's a possibility, there would be a possible world where we didn't fall short. That doesn't make any sense.
Look, there's a possibility, right?
If there's a possibility, there is a possible world where this did occur.
Yes, there's a
Okay, so I'm saying God is going to actualize that possible world if it is the case that God is all good, all knowing, and all powerful. Because God knows about this world, God has the power to actualize this world, and God is the preference for this world.
Bro, you saying that God would choose that is subjective because
No, it's not. No, it's
no,
literally
no, it is.
logically
It is because,
entailed given God's
okay.
perspective.
No, the reason why it is because you don't understand God. You can't
I
understand.
literally do understand this. I absolutely understand this.
So look, so you're no, you don't. The reason why
Yes,
is
I am. Give me any issue that I am not understanding here.
okay. The issue that you're not understanding is because you're saying since there is a probability that there could be a perfect world, right? You're saying since there's a probability there can be a perfect world, since God is all good, he would choose that world, right?
Because that's more in accordance with his preferences that are literally outlined by the Bible that we can read, that we can understand,
But this
that
is
you literally understand yourself.
So your representation of God's outline and his requirements, you're tainting them to your view. So, right? So the things you're tainting them to represent aren't definitive, right? I can taint them towards me.
What do you mean?
So
I'm not tainting them towards myself. How did I do that?
Well, how are you tainting it? So you saying that God would prefer a perfect world, that's you tainting his requirements, right, quote unquote, and things to you because
No, I'm not. How am I doing that?
Listen, because look.
How am I doing that?
So because we're human, right? We're human, right? So by definition, God would be a perfect being, right? Right. Just if he were to exist, God would be perfect, right? If he were, could you agree with that?
I like how you're literally not telling me.
No, I didn't answer that. If God were to exist, would he be perfect?
No.
No?
Because there's a contradiction. I don't believe that a perfect God is possible.
Okay, I'm saying God is perfect. And if God is perfect, whatever is in his plan, I'm not gonna challenge logically. You know why? Because if God exists, he is perfect. And if he exists, there's no way humans who are mortals that are imperfect could fully understand a being or an entity like that. It would be impossible for us to completely understand that. So your assessment.
No, I don't have to
of right or
fully
wrong is
understand
wrong.
for there to be a contradiction. I really
No,
don't.
you do.
Okay, in order for you to know that 1 is not equal to 2, do you have to understand differential equations? No, you fucking don't. You don't have to understand every aspect of
Well, that's
math
a
to know
bad
that that's an
analogy.
issue.
That's a bad analogy.
No,
though.
it's not a bad
It's
analogy.
a horrible analogy.
Right? Because we know that God has a preference against sin. That is a great analogy.
Yeah, but just because he has a preference against sin doesn't mean he wouldn't allow sin at all. Because you're
It literally would if it's possible for him to get rid of it.
No, because
If
you're
it's
saying
possible for you to if it's possible for you to get rid of your wait, hold up. Let me ask you this question.
That bridge right there is what I have issue.
Let me ask you this question, okay? If it's possible for you to get rid of your children's suffering and to make their life better, would you do it?
Me as a person, but look at what you're trying to
without a fucking thought, right?
You're trying to equate humans and art are things that are relative to us to God. You can't make.
I'm literally not. You're not understanding. Literally, can you let me actually go through the point before you just try to assume what I'm doing? I'll literally explain to you what I'm doing, but you have to let me get to that point.
If I can magically cure my kids of any disease, yeah, I would.
Yeah, clearly you would, right? Because it would be unnecessary for them to go through that pain otherwise.
Well, unnecessary to me in that moment, yeah.
What do you mean unnecessary to you? Unnecessary in general, right? This is an objective claim.
Unnecessary in what context?
It's not required.
Well, why are you saying that it's not necessary?
Because you could have done otherwise.
But that doesn't mean it's not necessary.
That literally does. That literally fucking does. What does it mean to be necessary? It literally means that in all cases this has to be true.
Okay, but why would something bad happening automatically mean it's not necessary?
What do you mean? Something happening to the otherwise would mean that it's not necessary because then it wasn't required to happen. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, why are you saying
literally? It's by definition.
Wait, but why are you saying it wasn't required to happen? Because there's a good to that side?
That's what we were talking about.
Okay, but the reason why your claim doesn't make sense is because God sent his one and only son to die on this earth and suffer.
Oh, okay. And
He suffered. You're trying
cool.
you're trying to say that
Good to
just
know. Thank you for letting me know. How is that relevant?
because the reason why that is relevant is because if Jesus suffered, right? So if Jesus suffered and he was perfect, who are we to say my son has cancer or my son has schizophrenia and this is so wrong and this and this and this and that, right? Because obviously these things
Because
to
they
us,
literally have to suffer, and apparently for no
yeah,
reason
people
under
do
this
go
view.
through pain. People go through pain, right? But the thing is, just because there's pain doesn't mean that it's completely negative. That's just to us, relative to us on Earth.
I'm literally not saying it relative, Alex. What you're not understanding, and this is very fucking
What am I
clear.
not
This is like
understanding?
literally the most clear thing ever.
Okay, what's
Is
the
that
most
it's
clear thing?
not. I'm explaining it to you.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's not against my preference for a child to lie about there being a cookie jar in a classroom as a joke, okay? But that lie is something that's seen to be immoral by your God. So I'm going on the basis of the preferences that your God has as an internal critique, not my own preferences. I don't give a fuck if that kid does that. Right?
Yeah.
I literally could give a fuck less.
Yeah.
So these sins, I don't give a shit about in most, I mean, not in most senses, but like in some sense, I don't give a shit about the sins, right? What I'm saying is that your God has a preference against these. So it's literally logically entailed that your God would engage in this particular action. And your response to it isn't to actually like give me any real points. It's to say I couldn't possibly understand it. But that's literally not responding to any of the points that I'm making. And that's just you, again, trying to obfuscate from the whole question and the whole logical entailment from the first place.
Okay, so you said that you personally obviously don't care what anyone does, right? Then you said God cares.
I do care in some sense. I meant about the sin.
No, but I'm saying just for the conversation, yeah. But you're saying God cares. So continue because I lost you. You're talking too fast. So what do you say after that?
Wait, what? What would you hear?
I said I lost you after that. I lost you
After what?
After you said, but that's the thing. God cares about sin, right?
Yeah, God cares about sin. I don't care about sin. So I'm going based upon what God's preferences are, and I'm critiquing. I'm showing you what's entailed given God's preferences. Can I like, bro? I'm telling you what's entailed given God's preferences, not my own.
But you're giving what's entailed to God's preferences. So what you're saying is God preferences, and how you're framing it as to what it entails is wrong. It's rhetoric.
No, it's literally okay. So you're saying the Bible's wrong because I'm getting this from the Bible.
No, because you're misrepresenting it. You can say
I'm
you're
not misrepresenting anything.
You are misrepresenting it. You can say that.
How am I misrepresenting it when I'm saying that God has a preference against sin? How did I misrepresent your view?
Because you're saying that just because God has a preference against sin, it means that He wouldn't tolerate it at all.
He wouldn't. No, that's not what I'm saying.
That bridge.
I'm saying no, that's not what I said. Can you please listen to what I'm saying? Because I literally clarified this multiple times, right? I am not saying that He doesn't tolerate it at all. I'm saying that He wouldn't tolerate it in the sense in which it was not logically necessary. Okay? If it's logically necessary, it can make sense, right? Because it would be for a greater good that's achieved, right? If it's not logically necessary, then there would be no point for God to have led to that particular world, unless you were to say, oh, I believe in open theism, and God doesn't know true facts about the future, right? So if God doesn't know true facts about the future, there's no possible way that He could have selected the world in which they always do good. He selected a world and had to observe what happened after, right? But you're not arguing open theism. You're arguing that God has the knowledge of true facts about the future.
So for me to be able to further this conversation, I would need you to explain to me what of God's preferences, quote unquote, are you going off of to say that this is
sin? I literally told you, man, sin.
So you're saying, but if further that, how can you prove that connection? You're saying because God prefers sin, He wouldn't allow it.
No, God has a preference against sin.
Yeah,
He wouldn't allow it if it's not necessary.
You're saying since God has a preference against sin, He wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, because you have a preference. He has a preference against it. He wouldn't allow it in the sense in which it's not necessary, right? If it's necessary because you have to, in order to, under an open theist model, right? Free will is something that we need, right? And God doesn't know what's going to happen given that they have the free will or something, because God selects any possible world that could be the case, right? Then you have an explanation for it. You don't do that. You don't have an explanation.
I just feel like you're ignoring my question because you can't.
What did I ignore?
Because you're saying that it's illogical, but that's not true. You can't bridge that. You're saying it's
What do you mean I
illogical.
can't bridge? You just keep saying the same thing. You're not listening to me, are you?
No,
Can you
you're
tell
not.
me? Wait, no. Tell me my argument. Just give it
Yeah,
back
your
to me.
argument is that not this isn't your opinion. It's facts that God prefers sin or prefers no sin over sin, right? That's factual, right? That's objective. You observe that. And if we're going off of God's preferences, which is no sin over sin, right? That means since there is a probability a perfect world would exist, God would have created it. That's your argument, right?
Yeah. So what's wrong with that argument?
The thing that's wrong with your argument is saying just because there's a probability of a perfect world that it would exist. That doesn't make sense to me logically.
Oh, so what was my explanation for it that you literally just said? Oh, it's because God has a preference against sin. So
Yeah,
what
but
do you dispute? Do you think that God doesn't have do you think God prefers
no,
sin?
I agree God has a preference over sin, but I disagree that just because he has
Preference against sin, right?
yeah, I disagree that his
Okay, so if God has a
disagree.
preference against sin, God does not want it to exist.
No, that's not true. I disagree.
What?
He cannot want
What does it mean
to
to have a preference against something? It means you don't want it to exist.
He prefers it to not happen than to happen.
Yeah, he wants it to not occur.
No, he prefers it to not happen than to happen.
Yeah, and that's saying that you want it to not occur.
Not want in the sense
No. Saying that you have a preference against sin is not saying that you preferred one to the other. It's saying that you would like it to not exist. You
Not
want it to not be the case.
Sure.
No, that is literally
You
what's
would
logical.
want it to not be the case.
Yes.
But like I said, you're saying going off of God's preference, right? But you're the one who's making that bridge, that jump. You can't do that.
What do you mean I can't do that? You just keep saying the same thing and you're not actually like elaborating.
Cause okay. So God prefers.
Thank you for the crown. I appreciate it. Thank you.
God prefers no sin. God prefers no sin over sin. That doesn't mean
God has a preference against sin.
Yeah, so that doesn't mean that God needs to have created a perfect world in order for the labels of omnibenevolent, all-knowing, etc., for those things to be true. Those things can coexist. You're saying they can't coexist, but the truth of the matter is they can coexist.
No, they cannot.
They can
Because
coexist.
oh my gosh, because if God has a preference against it, that would entail that God, right, would get that out of the world because
Why would it
God
entail
has.
that?
Let me explain. Okay, because when you're saying something is wrong, right, you're saying that you don't want the world to be this way, right? If you say that, let's say that like lying about there being a I don't know, My Little Pony, okay, is wrong, right? You're saying I want the world to not have this, right?
Sure.
So when God is saying that sin is wrong, right, and that's wrong to do these things, God is saying God does not want this in the world.
But just because he allows it to happen, how
God
does that
doesn't
prove,
want
how does
this
that
in the
prove that he doesn't
world,
want it?
then he is not going to allow it in the world if it is not a necessary entailment given free will. Okay? Does that make sense?
So you're saying if it's not necessary, say that just that
If
last
it's not a necessary entailment given free will, then God does not want it in the reality.
Well, it is. Well, that's the thing. God did give us free will.
I already agree with that, right? We've already gone over and established that. I don't know how that responded to what I just said.
Well, I thought because you said if free will was necessary. I thought that's what you had said.
Yeah. If what?
Like right now, I thought you were saying that unless free will was necessary. Like I thought that's what you had finished with.
Unless free will is necessary.
Yeah, is that what you had finished with?
I don't even know I don't even know, bro.
So
I actually have no
So
clue.
yeah, still right there, you have to have a premise, a logical premise, and you're saying that you do have one, but the thing is, it doesn't prove your point. It doesn't, because God. Oh my God! Like I feel like I've said the same thing over and over, and I feel like
Yeah,
said
you have
too.
because
Like we
you're
both
not
are saying the
you're
same
not
thing.
you think that it's somehow not you, right? That's what blows my mind. It's actually unbelievable.
Like you're equating God's preference against sin to say He wouldn't have allowed it. So how do those two automatically?
Yeah,
like,
that's literally what it fucking means.
It doesn't though. It means that to you.
What? What
It
the
means
fuck
that
do
to
you
you.
mean? No, it literally means that under your definition, under your own terms.
It doesn't mean that though.
Yes, it literally does. It literally does mean that.
It doesn't because
Because
part
then
of
you're
God,
saying that God caused
part
conditions in which sin occurred, right? So if God causes sin, right? God
God
causes
causes
something that
sin.
has a preference against, God did something
God
immoral,
causes
therefore
sin.
God's not all good.
So how does God cause sin?
In this scenario, God caused sin, right? Because it was an unnecessary point, right?
No, it's not unnecessary. How does
Yes,
God
it
cause
literally
sin?
is. Like here, let
It's
me.
not unnecessary. So how does God cause sin?
How does God cause sin?
Yeah.
So God, here's the first thing, right? If I created this baby, knowing that this baby was going to drown in front of me and that I could save it, and then I decided not to save it, right? Did I do something wrong when I created it?
No.
No. Yeah, I created a baby just to drown, and I did nothing wrong.
No, because the reason
What the
your
fuck
analogy
is wrong with you, dude?
your analogy is just outlandish.
No?
It's just
What do you mean my
outlandish.
analogy is outlandish? You just said no to that. What the fuck, dude?
Because obviously I get what the analogy is, and my point to you is God creates us with the knowledge
Literally
that
creates a
look,
baby, they just drowned, watches it happen,
I
could
just
stop it
didn't.
from happening, doesn't stop it from happening, and your view, God's view here says that it's not bad. Okay.
Oh, I thought you said if you gave birth to someone and you had the knowledge at some point in their life they would drown, and they drown spontaneously.
No, that they were going to drown right after I caused them into existence.
Yeah, you're not wrong, I guess.
No, I'm not wrong.
That's just a terrible analogy. It doesn't prove anything. So let me just respond.
No. My point is that
let's stop with the rhetoric and let me just respond.
There's no rhetoric here,
Let me
dude.
just respond to
You're
what
using
trying to
that.
say.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna call it out because this is bullshit at this point. Right, you're using that to gaslight me from this argument, right?
You're gaslighting me.
No. You clearly are. Let me explain why. Because you're not actually addressing the points here. You're simply just using that to then like just dismiss it without actually addressing the point. That's literally by definition gaslighting, right? Because you're literally trying to act like the reality in which is being posited is not real, right? By using a manipulation tactic by trying to deceive the audience. So literally what you're trying to do there. That's gaslighting by definition.
Honestly, I would say exactly what you said, but towards you. Because
then say it. Say it. Can you even get it out?
All right, can I just like finish with like a couple things? All right, so the reason why I'm saying it's gaslighting, right, is because if we go back to what my disagreement is, right, which is that since God prefers sin over no sin, he would have created that perfect world. And my response to that is, first of all, those things don't automatically mean that. And we can never understand God's plan. And my last thing, because I already explained enough, my points made sense, I know they did. My last thing, for everybody who's watching, if God was so much
where did I gaslight you?
If God was so much against sin,
I like how he never explained where I gaslit him.
If God was so much against sin,
you know, Alex, I'm just gonna say this to you now because I think it's incredibly disingenuous for you to like not describe it at all.
But you're gaslighting.
Yeah, you said that I was gaslighting to literally not respond to the fact that I literally said you were gaslighting, and you never explained why.
Okay, this is the thing. You're gaslighting me. You don't even know it. So when I describe
okay, so tell me why. Tell me how I'm gaslighting.
You're gaslighting me by saying because God's perfect, he would choose a perfect world. Or not because God's perfect. Because God prefers no sin over sin, he would create a perfect world. That right there is gaslighting.
How is that gaslighting?
Because
you don't no manipulation tactic there.
Because you don't understand God's plan.
There's no manipulation tactic there to tell you that your reality is not real. That's not gaslighting.
The reason why it's gaslighting is because you don't understand God's plan. You don't understand the Bible.
That's literally me disagreeing with you. That's not what gaslighting is. You actually gaslit. Like you unironically gaslit, right? And then now you're just trying to say because I disagreed with you in the debate that's gaslighting. Dude, you need to acquaint yourself with reality, my guy.
Well,
I literally implore you to acquaint yourself with reality.
So the reason why I'm saying, so like I said, you're gaslighting because you're equating those two but the thing is, that would only be true what you said if you had a perfect interpretation of the Bible, you had a perfect understanding of God, and you had a perfect understanding of God's requirements.
I don't have to have a perfect understing to know these things.
Yeah,
I already went over this with you.
Do, because,
right? Like you don't have to know. You don't have to know that 1 + 1 doesn't equal 3. Right? I mean, in order to know 1 + 1 doesn't equal 3, I don't have to know how to do differential equations. Right? I don't have to know every aspect of mathematics perfectly to be able to understand that 1 plus 1 equaling 3 is a contradiction.
Yeah, but the reason why I'm saying you would need to understand God fully is because you're saying these one-off
No,
examples. No, no, no. Look, because these
come
one-off
on.
examples of pain or the wrong action, you're saying that discredits God's perfection and omnibenevolence. But the thing is, that's not true because you would need to know the whole plan to say that. But you don't know
Why? Tell me why
why.
I need to know that. Because I gave you
Because
an analogy to describe as to why I don't need to know. So are you disputing the idea? Are you saying that I have to know all of mathematics perfectly to be able to say that 1 plus 1 equaling 3 is a contradiction?
no.
Okay, so no. So the point I'm getting to is that these things that are called sins are listed in the Bible. Right? I don't have to know a specific interpretation. I can literally accept the common interpretation by Christian scholars, right? By people like you, right? By people that believe in this, right? I'm not going based upon my own understanding even, right? These are literally what's described by your own belief systems, okay? It's very clear what you consider to be sin. You literally say it, Christians say it all the time, right? Like
Yeah, but that's where
I've
I'm
heard it a
saying.
million times. I know what's
Yeah.
considered sin. I'm
Uh-huh.
going based upon that. For you to make a claim that I don't understand what a sin would be, to
That's
be
not what
able
I'm
to
saying,
say
though.
that they would be violating a sin, is like saying that you don't have the ability to understand that either, as
No,
there's
no.
no difference between the perspective of you versus me when it relates to interpretation of any type of scripture or
Yeah.
any type of biblical text.
So I would agree with you. You don't need to know God, everything about God or understand God for you to understand what's right or wrong, right? In the simplistic way. But what I am saying, you would need to understand God completely for you to say God's plan isn't perfect because this exists and this exists. Because although you're using those as criticisms, at the same time, for God, those can be positive things, but you just don't know.
Yeah, so it would be the case that we wouldn't know that whether or not it's necessary then. Your argument would be that it's logically necessary. You just don't know how to point out the contradiction. That would be it. Is that the entire conversation ends with you just don't know how to point out the contradiction, but you
The
just think it's a
contradiction,
contradiction.
I don't point out the contradiction in you.
No, in the otherwise that again, you could always do the right thing. So you're saying it's impossible for you to do the right thing. Essentially, is your view. So then if it's impossible to do the right thing, I can just literally just ask who's... Wait, he just left. I can just ask who's determining the character. What did the mod say? Is he going to send a guest request back? Alex, I'll accept you back. I don't know why you left, bro. Why'd you leave?
I got a call and it started echoing.
Oh, you're good.
My bad. My bad. I know you said your points a lot like throughout this whole thing, but can you just say it one last time, like what you were saying right now? Because
I was talking about the necessary point. I just reinstated the point of necessary, that you're literally just saying that you can't possibly do the good thing, which is something that you reject. So like, you're literally you're stuck, man. Like
I'm saying
I'm
you
actually
can't.
serious.
So I'm saying my contradiction is you can't possibly do the new thing or do the right thing.
Yeah, that you're saying that you have to say that you can't possibly do the right thing.
Well, how did I say that?
In every single circumstance. That's your view. That's what you have to say. If it's the case that God cannot create a better world.
Well, I would say in every situation you're in, you have the opportunity to choose good. But what I am not saying is that in every opportunity that you will choose good. That's the difference.
Yeah, I'm not arguing that either, right?
Well, you are though.
No, hold up. I'm not arguing that a human being in every circumstance would, because then that would be saying that in 100% of the worlds that you would always do the right thing. What I'm saying is that there's some level of possibility or probability that you would do the right thing in every single scenario. So I'm saying there's at least one logically possible world that God could actually choose from that has this particular reality. But actually, there's an infinite set of
But how is that a
worlds.
contradiction?
Because again, right, you're saying that God is preferring sin over there being here. Actually, let me compare it this way.
How does that
right?
mean that God doesn't?
Can I finish?
But how does that mean
Or
God doesn't?
can I
prefer sin?
finish?
Go ahead.
So you're telling me that God prefers a world where there's like say 75 good, 25 bad, over a world where there's 100% good.
Well, I wouldn't.
And again, they
agree
both
to
have free
any of
will.
that. I wouldn't agree to any of that
That's literally what you're saying.
because you can't put it in those terms.
Why not?
Well, I would just say, yeah, God. I don't know for whatever reason, but whatever is happening right now on Earth and that's been happening historically, everything that's happened in existence, that's part
So
of God's
you
plan.
just think it's logically necessary, but you don't have the contradiction as to why. The contradiction
No,
of the opposite, which you require for
of
that
the
particular
opposite.
position.
Well,
Yeah,
but I'm
you have to
saying
say that every other thing is logically impossible.
that's logically impossible. Why would I have to say they're logically impossible?
Because then that's the only thing that could be restricting God from creating that world.
But I'm saying it's part of God's plan. So that's the explanation.
Yeah, the only way that it could be a part of God's plan is if it's logically necessary.
And what did I say that wasn't logically necessary?
Dude, what?
I said that sin's necessary. So look, people, this is another
Yeah,
thing.
and I'm asking what's the contradiction with the alternative
What's
of
the
there being no sin
so
with
you're
free
saying
will?
so you're saying what's the contradiction?
Actually, there's no contradiction with it. Want to know why? Because Jesus has free will, right?
Sure.
And Jesus never sins.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's logically possible
Well,
for there to be a being that has free will
Jesus
that
wasn't
never
a human.
sins.
Jesus wasn't just a human.
I just said being, right?
Yeah, but
Human would then mean that God creating them human rather than creating them a different type of being would have made them that way. So then you're saying that God determined that.
No, but the thing is, you're trying to a normal person, like obviously Jesus, like we believe he was a man in flesh, but you can't equate that to a human.
Dude, you're not understanding. Like, why is it so difficult for you to understand this, man? Like, literally, all right. All I'm saying is that it's possible. You agree that it's logically possible.
I logically agree with you that there is a.
This is where you're contradicting yourself. Okay,
no,
so
wait,
you
wait,
can't
wait,
agree that it's logically possible and then say sin is logically necessary. That is a contradiction in terms, right? Because then you're saying that sin cannot fail to exist, right? But then you're also saying that sin can fail to exist. That's literally a contradiction in basic terms, man.
I could actually. I want to respond to that. So I said, sin can. Wait, that last part. Just say that last part. That was a great wording. I love that wording. Like I could actually respond to that.
I don't want to, dude. You know how many times I've said the same thing over and over again, bro?
Yeah, me too. I'm on the same side. So we're both saying we don't understand.
No, man. I don't think you realize, dude.
I don't think you realize.
Dude, no, I've definitely said it more than you have. And again, right, I've literally been explaining the exact same thing for I think like 30 plus minutes. Do you actually think you're gonna get it if I say it again?
Yeah, deadass.
Oh, I don't even remember. So, can someone remind me in the chat?
Yeah, please. So wait. Let me think.
I think it was about like logically not. You're saying that it's fail to exist and not fail to exist. Okay, I remember. So you're saying that sin can fail to exist, right? By saying that it's not necessary, right? Or saying that it's logically possible, all right? And then you're saying that it can't fail to exist by saying it's necessary.
Okay, so I'm saying that sin is necessary, right? But I'm saying
So it can't fail to exist. Okay, so if it can't fail to exist,
but that's why
then is it the case that Jesus can have free will and not sin?
Okay, so that's why.
Okay, so now it is possible. There's the contradiction.
I want to respond to what you said. So that's where I'm saying you're gaslighting, because you're saying since I said sin is necessary that it can't fail, right? But what I did not say is that sin can't fail on occasion, right? So like I told you, everyone, by what I mean by occasion, I don't mean every so often. I mean that in each situation, you have the opportunity to not sin, right? That doesn't mean that sin cannot fail. It just means that sin exists.
Oh, Alex, this is like a miscommunication. So, but the definition of necessary, when we're relating to logic, is that this cannot fail to exist. If something is necessary, it has to exist. Okay? There's no possible world in which it does not exist.
Well, yeah,
so you're literally contradicting yourself in basic terms, right?
I'm not contradicting myself.
I like how you're literally saying I'm gaslighting, but you're contradicting yourself. It's actually unbelievable that I have to go through the same thing over and over again just for you to say that I'm gaslighting you on something that you're contradicting yourself for, man. Like,
so like
and then you're trying to somehow like act like it's like me who's like trying to like sway you in a wrong way or like manipulate you or anything.
Well, honestly,
I'm literally just observing the arguments, right? And I'm telling you what's happening in the conversation.
Well, if you were observing the argument, you would agree with me that because I said sin can't fail in terms of it existing. Yes, sin will exist. That's what I said. It exists. But that doesn't mean just because you cannot sin, it doesn't that's not a logical contradiction. Because I'm saying
You're not understanding my point. That's not what I
I'm
said. What
saying
I said
every
is that you're
Mhm.
arguing that it can fail to exist and that it can't fail to exist. You are
I'm
saying that
not
it
though. I'm
can
not.
fail to exist by the idea that what's it called? It's not necessary, or by saying that you can do the right thing. Okay?
Mhm.
That is saying that it can fail to exist, that it can fail to be the case that there is free will and no sin. Right?
Okay, so
That sin can fail to exist in that scenario.
look, this is where I'm saying. So one, because I said there is a.
Hey, dude, this is the last time I'm
All
going through
right,
this, right?
since I said that since I agreed with you that there is a possibility, a slim possibility that in each scenario someone can choose good over bad. I did agree with that, right?
Someone can choose. Yeah, there you go. That's where you're saying it's unnecessary and that it can fail to exist.
No. That's where I'm saying that you're
That's
just.
literally where you're saying it's unnecessary.
So I'm saying that it's unnecessary. So I'm saying right there. So you're saying right there, sin can fail to exist.
Yeah, that's what you're just saying.
Yeah, I'm saying people can choose to not choose, but how is that a
To do the
contradiction?
good thing. Yeah, that you're saying that sin can fail to exist. But then in the other scenario, when you're saying it's necessary, you're saying sin cannot fail to exist. That's literally basic terms contradiction.
No,
If you
no, no,
can't
no.
see that, you are literally trying not
No,
to see it.
I see what you're
It's
trying to say.
literally in the sentence in front of you, right in front of you, dude.
That would be that what you said would be true if
No,
what
it is true.
it would be true if what I meant by can't fail means that no one would ever sin ever, because those aren't the same thing.
Yeah, that's what it means.
They
That's
aren't the
literally
same
what
thing.
it
No,
fucking means,
that doesn't
dude.
know what that's not what it means.
That is literally what it means.
You're trying to force it so bad, but that doesn't.
I'm not trying to force anything. You're trying to force it.
You're forcing it because you
No,
don't have
I'm
a
clearly
logical
not,
premise
dude.
to
I'm
prove
clearly
that.
not, dude. That is literally what it means, dude.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
That is actually unbelievable, dude.
Like, it's unbelievable that you think that those equate to each other. Because you're trying to the reason why you're misrepresenting my argument is because you're saying
Yeah, Alex, honestly, I don't want to hear you say the same thing again. I really don't. You're just gonna say the same thing again after it's literally like in the sentence. You literally contradicted yourself within the same sentence, right? And somehow you still think that like I'm the one that's doing something wrong. So like there's nothing that's gonna come from this conversation.
You're saying that since sin occurs, that means that when sin happens, it's a contradiction. Or when sin doesn't happen, you're saying that when
you say sin cannot, or I mean cannot fail to exist, right? And you're saying that there's a sense in which sin doesn't exist, then you're contradicting yourself. Yeah.
No, you're saying just because people can choose good and there is sin, you're saying that's a contradiction when it's not.
Yeah, if there's a probability in which you in every single scenario can do the right thing, right? Then you're saying that sin can fail to exist. It's literally what you're saying by definition.
No, it's not.
I'm not. Yeah, it literally is, right? I'm not going to the same thing a million times, but
thank you for having me on.
That is like Caribbean crystal water clear.
No, you're
that is Arrowhead spring water clear.
Yeah,
that's literally Fiji water clear, bro.
If your opinion
it is literally Fiji water clear.
Yeah, but
bro.
you don't have a perfect opinion or a perfect interpretation.
I don't have a perfect opinion or perfect interpretation. This you are literally. I promise you, dude. You are literally. Hold up. You are definitely wrong here. I promise you. I'm not perfect in terms of knowledge. I definitely don't know everything. There are lots of things that I'm wrong about in many senses. This is definitely not something that I'm wrong about. I'm literally positive that there's a contradiction here.
I don't know what gifts mean, but I have 548, and before this I had 0. That's all I gotta say. Believe in Jesus.
What, dude? 548. That's you know how much that is? I think that's like $1. I think that's literally like $1, chat. That's like maybe $1 or $2, right? Like, Cersei, I appreciate that mustache. Thank you so much. I don't know what he's talking about, bro. I just dropped 1,000 kills on bots in Black Ops 3 while doing that, chat. Let me go on to the next person. Again, if you disagree, send a guest request right now. Please only send a guest request if you disagree. We're just looking for some debates, everyone. Let me go on to the next person, though. Yo, Tommy boy, appreciate the hand art. Thank you so much. Knew you were playing a game. Yeah, of course. You can literally look at my controller. I'm straight sniping bots in Black Ops 3. No, like actually like sniping bots, like NPCs in the game. Let me go to the next person. Only send a guest request if you disagree, everyone. By the way, everyone, I am banned right now. I am suspended for a week until the 22nd. This person's not adding in. I am banned until the 22nd. I should be back then on my main account. So if you do like my content, because I do go live every day, follow me if you haven't already. This is my second account. Again, this is where I go whenever I get bananaed, chat. Okay, I got bananaed for misinformation, which clearly I didn't engage in. So TikTok is just like a terrible banning system. But we're gonna get it back here on the 22nd, everyone. That's when it's gonna be back. So we're gonna go on to the next person. Again, only send a guest request if you disagree, everyone. Just looking for some debates. Oh, someone joined in, and I literally hear them like 2 minutes after I hit accept. Why do I hear this person? Can you leave, please? Why do I still hear this person? George, can you leave, please? If you don't
What's
leave,
going on?
I'm gonna end the. Okay. I literally don't see you. No one can hear you. But yeah. John, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Do you think that a God exists?
100%. I believe a God exists.
Why so?
Well, there's no other way to explain how everything that we have here on this planet came into being. I mean, it just didn't spring into existence. I mean, if we took a shuttle to Mercury and we discovered a house there, the only logical conclusion we could come to is that there was life there beforehand and that something built it.
And that's because we have.
And we can both agree that human beings are infinitely more complex than a house.
Yeah, but just because something's complex doesn't mean it requires a designer. As God is more complex than the universe, yet God doesn't require a designer. Right? So the idea is that we have personal experiences and prior experiences with intelligent beings creating houses. We don't have personal experience or prior experiences indicating us that intelligent beings create universes.
There's no other way that the universe could come into being without being created.
That's just a claim, right? By created, you're implying a mind or it's like some sort of purpose or intention behind something, right? There can be a causation to the universe that is naturalistic, right? There could be an eternal state of fundamental particles in which are prior to our universe and which explain and caused our existence, right? But that doesn't mean that it has
not
to
without an initiation. That's the problem with your theory right there. Is that in nature, everything in nature operates with equal and opposite reactions. Like you have to have a cause in order to have an effect. Things just don't randomly come about.
I'm not arguing that, sir. I'm saying that this is the case, that it didn't randomly come about. This was determined to happen, and there was a cause for it. The cause was a prior state of fundamental particles. And again, I don't think that this is a sufficient explanation, the same way I don't think that there's a sufficient explanation under the theist model, but I think it's more likely to be true than your model on the basis of simplicity or requiring less assumptions to explain the same question.
What particles are these that you are stating created everything?
It's just a placeholder. They give the superpower. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Because we're taking
a placeholder for what?
The explanation or the model. We're taking two different models, two different explanations, right? And we're comparing them. A theist explanation, right? And in like a naturalist explanation, right? And we're assuming particular qualities that these entities have. You're assuming that this God is all-knowing, all-powerful, all good, right? That this God has the necessary desires to bring about this reality rather than another one. I'm assuming that this fundamental particles, right? It has the necessary properties to bring about this reality.
What is the value of that claim, though?
In terms of the comparison, one explanation or one model requires less assumptions than the other model, yet they explain the exact same question. I appreciate the handout. Thank you so much. So if one explanation or model requires less assumptions than the other one, it's more likely to be true, given that we don't know the likelihood in which each assumption is correct.
I don't see how that's possible.
What?
You're making a premise based upon no information.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is based on, right? That's exactly what your model is doing, right? And the only way that we can
No, my model is not based upon assumption or anything like that. It's
no,
based upon information that was passed down since the time of Adam.
and those were the time of Adam. I don't believe in Adam. You don't have evidence for Adam. These are assumptions. Every single characteristic they're referencing that God has, heaven, hell, angels, demons,
Well, here's
right,
the
all
evidence
knowing,
for
all
Adam.
powerful, all good. Those are all literally just things that that you think, right, or that you assumed.
Well, here's the thing. We all came from somewhere. Who was the first man? I'm saying his name was Adam.
I don't think that there was particularly like a first man, right? There were multiple different human beings that came about, right? We don't have the ability to like particularly reference one human being that came about. There were evolutionary processes that led to human beings existing in the way in which they do. Right? I don't think it was like one, it was a gradual sort of process.
A gradual sort of process like how? Because you need a man and a woman, obviously, in order to make another human being. So obviously there was more than one, but how did all the, you're describing a situation in which multiple people sprang into existence at the same time and then started procreating.
So like when there's evolution and there are prior species to the species in which we have, there are prior species in which will likely adopt or adapt or mutate to have these particular qualities, right? And they can all mutate and have the same quality. The same way that like I can have a common mutation that other people might have. I have hazel eyes, other people have hazel eyes, right?
You're talking about eye color, which, yeah, that's a mutation, but that mutation came from something else.
Every characteristic we have is a mutation.
Yeah, nobody's going to disagree with that. What I'm getting at is the first people.
The first people, right? I'm confused what you're saying. You mean like the first human beings, right? How
Correct.
long ago do you think that was?
I have no idea.
Well, it was hundreds of thousands of years ago. It doesn't relate to the biblical notions of time that would reference like a few thousand years or so.
I don't remember anywhere in the Bible saying a few thousand years. It doesn't even reference how far back the Bible goes.
6 days being 1,000 years each.
It does not say that.
Genesis.
No, in Genesis it says a day, but the Jewish word for day just means time. It doesn't actually state 24 hours or 1,000 years or anything definitive.
It does actually give time periods that relate to it. 1,000 days per. I mean, 1,000 days per technically day, or 1,000 years per day is what it gives actually.
No, it does not.
Yes, it does. It does.
I've looked it up. You can go and pull it up for the audience right now. The Jewish word for day does not mean 24 hours, does not mean 1,000 years. It is an indescript amount of time.
The claim is later on, right, that the day is related to 1,000 years. Okay? Right, this isn't my claim.
Where's that?
This is in Genesis. This isn't my claim. This is not my idea. I have no basis to care about this. This is literally what it says, though.
No, it does not say that. You did not look up the Jewish definition for day. Please Google it.
Again, right? The Jewish definition for day. I understand that when you're saying day,
you realize the Old Testament is based off the Torah.
Yeah, and they give a categorize. The Torah is the Old Testament. They give a categorization.
That's what I just said.
You said it's based off of the Old Testament.
No, I said it is the Old Testament. Or yeah, I did say it was based off the Old Testament because it is.
No,
that's why it's called the Old Testament versus the Torah.
No, the Torah and the Old Testament are the same thing.
No, they're not. The Torah is in Hebrew. The Old Testament is in English.
Okay, so it's the same thing, though.
The Old Testament is an interpretation of the Torah.
John, that's like making a distinction between the English version and the Arabic version of the Quran and saying that one isn't the Quran and the other one is.
That's factually correct because there's interpretations that are made whenever you do a transition like that.
Yeah,
it's no longer the same thing.
Yeah, and I know people that speak.
That's why I said it's based on the Torah. And it's not an exact translation.
I know people that speak Hebrew that can read those particular texts directly, right? And I mean, this is not to mention that you want to relate to the to the New Testament, right? There are literally multiple different translations that we can relate to in terms of like the scriptures that we have when it relates to that. So if you want to say that things are lost in translation, well, then that's going to be applicable to your New Testament.
I'd agree. There's lots of stuff that's lost in translation.
Yeah, and that's your own view. So this is the word of God, stuff lost in translation from the word of God. It's not the case that God decided to like come down to the earth and to like write it down himself or to like make sure that there's something that, can be determined that it's God. Instead, he leaves
That's
it
why
up
they
to
call the Bible the
humans.
inspired word of God.
Instead, he,
Inspired, not direct word of God.
yeah, and instead he leaves it up to humans to completely dismantle the ideas of what's within the context of the Bible. So God is the one that necessarily caused humans to not have good reason to believe in God.
No, that would be sin. It's not a sin
No.
necessarily. It'd be more of the more Satan.
If there
Satan
was a
doesn't want
floating
anybody to.
tablet, there was a
Satan
floating.
doesn't want anybody to believe in Jesus because he wants everybody that to suffer with him because he's pissed off that God chose humans over angels as his favorite creation.
Okay, I'm okay. Like that's your view. I don't even think that this is like going to be at that point yet, right? But do you understand what I'm saying? Appreciate that mustache. Thank you so much.
What were you saying?
Thank you for the hand. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, I can just go to a different point. When it relates to this, we can just go over these different claims. So you're saying that that God is all knowing, all powerful, and all good, correct?
Yes.
I appreciate that mustache. Thank you so much. Okay. Do you think that it would be if there are human beings that see a child that is drowning, right, in like a pool or something, or in a bathtub, like an infant drowning in a bathtub, and they have the ability to save this infant, right, but they choose not to. Did they do something wrong?
I don't think I can come to a determination. For instance, what if they couldn't swim? So if they jumped into the water to save a child and they couldn't
It's a
swim, they would die
bathtub,
along with the child.
John. It's a bathtub.
It's a bathtub? Yeah, I would think it was a sin, but I don't know what if God would think it was a sin.
So it would be bad? You don't think God would think it's bad?
I don't know if God would think it would bad.
Okay.
Because in the Bible it says that God can use all the evil in the world for his glory. So there are things that go on that God would not approve of, but that God can turn into a positive.
Okay, so if you think that it would be bad for human beings to just watch the infant drown in the bathtub, then do you agree that there are some infants that have died in bathtubs?
I think there's definitely careless people in the world that didn't take very good care of their children.
Let's say that they couldn't, right? Let's say that they got unalived by someone and they couldn't take care of that child, right? And the baby died because of drowning in the bathtub. Okay, should God have saved that baby?
Why would God have saved the baby?
Well, because again, he has the ability to do so. The same way that human beings, given that they had the ability to do so and that they saw it, should do so. Huh?
Hacker on the line.
Do you hear this, John?
Yeah, I can hear it. He said he hacked in.
Did chat? Do y'all hear this? Thank you for the little crown. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Or is it just us?
You want to close out chat and then restart it, see if it kicks him out, and then just reinvite me?
Yeah, I will. I will kick them out. But bro, how the hell? Wait, how can I hear you right now, bro? You didn't hack shit, dude. What are you talking about? No, you didn't, dude. Come on, no one in the chat can hear you, right? If you hacked it, make sure that people can hear you, dude. Okay, I'm gonna restart it, John. I appreciate it, man. Wait, now I can just hear you. Oh, this is wild. Wait, why isn't it letting me turn off? Wait, why can't I turn off? Fuck off! Stop talking. So, dude, stop. Actually, dude, chill, man. Dude, you're gonna make me look crazy because people literally can't hear you, dude. Chill, man. Hold up. Let me kick you off. I don't know how to figure this out. I literally can't turn off my guest requests. I literally can't do it, dude. Chat, why did they get rid of the ability to turn off your... Oh my gosh, no way, bro. Yo, dude, can you stop talking, man? Stop talking, dude. I will literally restart the live, bro. Come on. Come on. No, dude, seriously. Stop, bro, seriously. Oh my gosh, bro. I'm gonna go crazy. Thank you for the little crown, I appreciate it. I literally can't turn off the guest requests because they got rid of the fucking ability to do so. No, dude, get the fuck off my live. Dude, get off. Dude, just get off the live. Dude, seriously, just get off. No, man, I don't want to hear 1 minute of what you have to say. Get off my live, bro. Get seriously. I literally can't disconnect you. Can you please get off my live, bro? I will literally turn off my live if you don't do so. Can you please get off the live? Thank you for the Lucy Llama. I appreciate it. Dude, please just get off the live. Can you please just get off the live, dude? I'm actually not joking. I don't want to have to end my live, dude. Can you please stop? Dude, why do people do this? Like seriously, man. Seriously, just dip. Oh my god, dude. I'm not going to listen to a single word you're saying, dude. I'm not going to listen. This is actually so annoying. Chat, why'd they get rid of the thing where I can literally turn off? He won't shut up. He actually won't stop. I'm not gonna listen. I literally just unplugged that shit. I'm not gonna sit there and listen. Chat, I'm gonna hit a restart on the live. This guy is like actually so fucking annoying. For some reason, it's someone who like just joined because like the connection sucks with TikTok, but they literally won't let me like turn off like the guest request anymore so that I can't hear people or that it like resets it. They got rid of that ability. Wait. There we go. Wait. Hello? Hello? Did I fix it? Did I fix it, chat? I think... Hello? Can y'all hear me right now? I literally can't hear myself. Can y'all hear me? Oh, fuck, I can't hear I just didn't plug my thing in. Y'all can hear me? All right. Yeah, he did leave. All right, we're good. So I figured out how to do it, thankfully. Dude, that guy was so annoying. He literally, like... I literally was like, I can't figure out how to do it. And he was literally sitting there just like kept talking, trying to tell me like an argument. I'm like, dude, leave the live. What are you doing, bro? Just some random person was joining. Does anyone remember the person who was just on my live who I was just talking to? I literally forgot the name. Because I couldn't see their name. I couldn't see who they were. It was just, they were just talking. John. All right, we'll look for John. If I can't see John, is this it? Wait, were you just on the debate?
No, I'm totally not, but hit me next.
Okay, for sure, man. For sure. I gotta find the other person. Okay. The different John. John Bobby? Is this a different John?
And there's nothing you could say to change my mind.
Okay, they're driving. Okay, they didn't send a guest request back, everyone. So we're going to go on to the next person. If you disagree, send a guest request right now. Please only send a guest request if you disagree. By the way, everyone, we were bananaed and suspended from the main account for a week until the 22nd. So we're going to be back the 22nd, everyone. We should be debating then on the main account. So make sure to follow me here if you haven't already, everyone. He's in the chat. I didn't see John Bobby in the guest box. I don't see him in the guest box. So we're going to go on to the next person. Only send a guest request if you disagree. We're just looking for some debates, everyone. John's in the chat. I don't see him in the guest box, though. Yo, what's up? How old are you? Oh, I found him, chat. I found him. I found John Bobby. Found him. I'm here. I'm there. I got you, dude. Just found you.
Sweet.
Bro. Finally, man. I don't know
I
what
was just
happened.
like, what's going on here?
Yeah, you just like heard him start talking, right? He wouldn't stop talking. He kept going. And I literally couldn't find a way to turn him off, but we're good.
Yeah, I saw that. I was just like, what the heck's going on? I was just like, because you couldn't hear me anymore, and he was the only thing that you were hearing.
All right, well, say what you were saying.
Oh, before you ended off, you were talking about something about a child in a bathroom.
Wait, John, he's back.
Oh my God.
Are you actually, dudes? Are you here?
I'm here.
I swear I just heard him. I feel like I'm going crazy right now. Chat, please.
Well, maybe we'll get lucky and he'll get struck by lightning or something.
All right, you can continue.
The last thing you were talking about, you were talking about like a baby in a bathtub or something like that. Oh my God, he's back! Holy shit!
It's not just me. He's literally here, dude. How do I get rid of him?
I don't know. I think you're probably gonna have to restart the whole thing.
Dude, this is unbelievable. Chat.
That
I fucking knew it. I literally knew it. He's still here.
he's like lying in wait.
And we can't even see him. Like, if I switch things, you still can't even see him. That's fucking wild. The gravity is precise, man. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate it.
Dude, wait your turn. Wait your turn. Go away. Wait your turn. Queue up like everybody else.
Okay, yo, John Bobby, I'm gonna hit a restart in the live.
But
Wait, actually, no. We want to make sure people can hear him real quick.
oh, everybody can hear him. I mean, I can even hear him.
Did y'all hear that, chat? Did anyone hear that?
I mean, are we gonna see a picture of your face over there?
No, we're not gonna. Did he leave? Bro, did
I
you
hope
leave?
so.
I think he did.
I'm still here.
Okay. I'm sorry, bro. This has never happened to me like this before. I promise.
No, it's not. It's not your fault. It's just people being people.
Normally, I
No,
can.
but no, we left off with you were talking about a baby in a bathtub dying and asking why God wouldn't save a baby in a bathtub or something like that.
Yeah, because like in this sense, it's not getting rid of free will of anyone in this sense. So it's just like saving a baby.
Well, no, saving the baby's life isn't an important thing because we're all destined to die eventually. So saving a baby's life in the grand scheme of things really isn't doing anything or helping anybody, even the baby. But it is sparing the baby from having to live a life in sin, pain, and suffering. So that baby's not going to go to hell because that baby hasn't committed any sins. He's still here.
Yeah, John, we're gonna literally restart the live real quick. This guy is like so annoying. I'm gonna hit a restart. I really don't want to have to, but he's still.
I
here,
wish
bro.
your brain would collapse on itself.
Yo, please. All right, John. I'll be right back, man.
All right.
Okay, so say it. Say it right now. You know what? I'll hear it. Yeah, at least make it so that people in the chat can hear you. Yeah, chat. Can y'all hear him? I hear him. We can't hear. No. No, they can't. If you're a hacker, make them be able to hear you real quick, man. Thank you, Ashley. Appreciate the subscription. Although, Ashley, again, I am on my second account, so you don't need to do that. No, they can't hear you. They can't hear you. If gravity was slightly more powerful, what about it? The universe would collapse in a ball. So you're just making the fine-tuning argument? You've heard... Come on, dude. If you've hacked me, you've definitely heard my fine-tuning response. No, dude, this is a constant. You're just saying that there's constants to the universe that could have been otherwise. Okay, so in the same way that you can say that there's like it could have been otherwise when it relates to these constants, well, you could say the same thing with God's mind, right? God could have had an infinite set of desires that could have created a reality in which there was like, SpongeBob and Patrick, rather than a reality. Okay, so get the fuck out of my live. Get out of my live, dude. Seriously, you're an atheist. Get out of my live. Dude, if you don't leave right now, I'm just gonna end the live. Please, can you just leave? All right, leave. Bye. Oh my gosh, dude. It's like you guys can't even fucking hear him. It's like I'm talking to myself. People in the chat are probably so confused. Whoever was just on, we can add them back on. We can continue our conversation. Because they did just leave finally. Fucking hell, dude. Like that's actually probably the most annoying thing I've dealt with on live before. I'm not gonna lie, chat. I am more irritated right now than I've ever been on my live before. Thank you for the hearts. I appreciate it. Because like, there's nothing I can do to get them off. Like, I've never. I'm ending the live, everyone. He's still here, so I'm ending it. I'll be right back, everyone. Give me a few seconds. Thank you for the hand heart. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're gonna come back with this topic, so I'll be right back, everyone.